going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. How's everybody doing?
Great. How are you?
No,
Oh,
pretty
wonderful.
good.
No complaints. No complaints.
Yeah.
Got a few more people popping up shortly, but we're going to go ahead and get this show started. Tonight, we're going to be discussing two parents versus one. Who really raises better adults? Who really raises better adults? Tonight, we're not here to protect feelings. We're here to look at outcomes. Everybody says kid needs two parents, but we're still seeing broken adults. So what's really going on? That's the question that's on the table. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off with this first question. What does two-parent home actually do better? What does a two-parent home actually do better? Start with you first, Lakeisha.
So I probably need to go last to be honest, because when you put the poll and you said what do two-parent household do or do better?
What do they do better?
Yeah, so that's probably me to go last because I don't think that question, the question, we've fought that question for so many years, two versus one. I think the question should be rephrased as in healthy environments versus toxic, because you can have two parent households and still live in a toxic environment versus one. So I don't think I should go first because I'm in between. I think that it's work. The question
I'll
should be
go.
environment versus toxic. 201.
Mm, I'll
All
go.
right, go ahead, Mike.
So I think in general, two is better than one. Obviously, right? You get more coverage. You can create a degree of balance because typically men aren't like women, and typically women aren't like men. Um, you get a partner to help you do everything. You don't have to go to every single doctor's appointment. You don't have to go to every single, one parent. Being one parent, of course, you're going to get burned out, most likely, especially if you're a woman. You're definitely going to get burned out trying to do every single thing. Trying to be the disciplinarian at the same time as the kind nurturer and things like that. So I think that and also a lot of cases you got two incomes, right, which can help out a lot. But I think in general, two parent household is supposed to create balance. It's supposed to create uh, a symmetry, like a yin and yang for the kids to be able to, get those things. But also, you get to see how your parents love each other, or how the adults in the home they get to display love for you. What is a man's role inside of a home? What is a woman's role inside of a home? So they get to kind of see these things and see these examples, which is something that kids need to see. So yeah, I think that's important.
And I think that when it's healthy, yes, I agree with all that.
Well, I think that's a given.
No,
As far as
it's not always given.
Well, I guess that's a given, as in like what we're saying. If there's two healthy people,
Go ahead. Let's go to True.
oh,
What does a
sorry.
two-parent home actually do better?
I think a two-parent home parent's better. Mark kind of touched on a lot. I think he laid a pretty solid foundation. I don't even know why this would be something that we would have to discuss. It takes two people to create the child. So anything that comes from source typically needs that same thing in its environment in order to build it up correctly. Being raised in a two-parent household, I can tell you overwhelmingly that, like Mom said, you have a partner. What you do get from a two-parent household that you wouldn't get from a one is that they're not just a parent. Like, I got to see my parents, but I got to see a relationship, and that played actually priority. So you get to kind of jump in between being a parent and then being a person and then being a wife or a husband. It's a dynamic type of environment. I know we like to think that because of the circumstance of somebody being born into a one-parent household and they're yielding the charge, but you are operating with your hand tied behind your back. Like, it's like entering into a boxing ring with one hand tied behind your back. You're not going to be able to catch everything. So I think they parent better. They build more optimal children. It's like kind of irrefutable in my opinion. And I'll land.
All right, go ahead, Dana. You go ask this question. I was muting you because it was giving feedback. So What does a two-parent home actually do better? You got to unmute, Dana. There you go.
I don't know why I kept muting. Okay. Well, as long as it's a healthy two-parent relationship, any family can have a two-parent relationship, but as long as it's a healthy relationship and each parent is kind of playing their part, because if they're not, then it might do more harm than good.
All right, go ahead,
But I
White.
mean, exactly what was said. Like,
Mhm.
every parent brings their own. I might be less of the disciplinarian, and my husband may be, more of the disciplinarian. It's about balance. It's about balancing each other.
Gerald, we got some stuff we need to unpack after this.
Okay. I mean, if you want to ask a follow-up question, you can, or you want to unpack
No,
something.
I'm gonna let everybody go. Then we're going to unpack what we need to unpack when it's time.
Okay. Go ahead, Trev. What does a two-parent home actually do better?
Every single metric possible, from you being 5 times more likely to be in poverty, for you to be have a 70% greater chance of being incarcerated, for you to have successful romantic relationships, for you to be a high school dropout. We could keep going, but every single thing depends on the absence of the paternal parent. And actually, to be specific, it's really the lack of a father that causes most of these issues. So, absolutely, a single parent, um, it's going to be a lot more challenging, not impossible, but the odds are stacked against you if you are a single parent, particularly a single mother. That structure, that discipline that the father offers is extremely valuable and underrated. That's why I encourage men to, try not to impregnate women who you won't have access to.
All right, go ahead, White. What does a two-parent home actually do better? I think he dropped off. Jamie, what does a two-parent home actually do better? We can't hear you, just so you know.
Oh, you can't hear?
Are you on your phone?
No, I'm on the computer.
Okay.
Can you
Check
hear
the
me?
audio. It's a gear button at the bottom down there. Click that gear and make sure that you have the correct mic linked. When all fails, go back out and come back in. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah.
All right. I'll make sure it wasn't me.
All right. Well,
Is it still like that?
Okay.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me now?
just go back out and come back in. Go ahead, Lakeisha,
Okay.
and then Lana, go ahead and ask this follow-up question.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I agree with everybody, but I also think like a lot of times when we think of two bodies versus overall emotional depth. Just because it's two people present, don't mean they're present. But obviously, if it's healthy, you guys, right? Yeah. So
my question is, if you can go inside yourself and try to answer this question as honestly to yourself as you can, why do you think that that is something that you insist on saying before you even say like the benefits of in general, the benefits of having two parents? What do you think is the reason that you insist on putting out that disclaimer?
I can answer it out loud. I don't got to think to myself.
Well,
I have.
no. When I say think to yourself, I was saying like, because everything that you ask me, I process, right? I got to process
Right.
things before I can say it. So I'm just saying, if you could process and process your answer and ask yourself that question, what would it be?
If I could process, it would be this. I would still say the same thing because I lived in a two-parent household. But I guess I'm probably biased because I was living in a two-parent household, but they wasn't present. They lived there every day. So maybe that's the trauma from it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Got you. That's reasonable.
Can you hear me now?
Can I see if
Yeah.
it's working?
Yeah, we can hear both of you guys. I can hear both of y'all.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think two parents they allow a child to see two different energies, masculine and feminine energy. They allow you to see both parents operate together ideally in a functional relationship. So you see how they interact with each other, what's acceptable ways of communication. How do you de-escalate or have disagreements or come to conclusions? How to follow, how to lead, how to serve, how to be useful, how to self-sacrifice. And we get different children. Like my son is completely different with me than he is with my wife. Like I got the most I ain't gonna say he's well behaved because he get to it, but he'll listen to me and stop when I say something. But his mom get to saying he'll try her like you wouldn't believe, and he like it's crazy how like he aggressive, right? So, but when I come in, I just gotta look at him. I gotta point him. I'm just come on, and he gonna get it right together. Like a lot of those things, it's just energies that are extremely important. I think to have a well-balanced person and to have the best experience, because these are some of the happiest kids I've seen. You know what I mean? They play, they do their homework, they understand they understand responsibility when they get in trouble. Like they're communicative. It's just a well-rounded experience. I think if you're gonna have an ideal scenario, it would be to have both parents in the house pouring love and caring to the children, as opposed to them seeking something from someplace else, right? So that's my thoughts.
So I can just it's already known that it takes a man and a woman to obviously have a baby. And so there's a reason why that's designed for that. Men and women offer two different types of emotional support. Finances, it costs a lot to have a kid. You can teach each other. There's a different level of love, from each person. Now, I grew up in a 2-parent household. However, it wasn't my mom and my dad. It was my dad and my stepmom. And then I also grew up a portion of my time in just a 1-parent household with my mother. And it was different. You need that man in your life. Now, a man can show you how to, sorry about my dog. A man can show you, how to love in a firm way, that structure, obviously how to teach another man how to be a man. And I know there are women who say, well, I raised sons and my sons were perfectly fine. And it's not to take away from that, but they still need a man, because most of the time those men are always looking for that masculine, that father role. Women need that nurturing, that loving, that softness that a woman is supposed to offer. That's what whether it's a man, a male or female, you still need that type of motherly love. We're just different. We're set emotionally different. So I think it's necessary, obviously. And I know we say like there's that like healthy, if it's healthy, yeah, of course it should be understood that it already is healthy. However, we know that sometimes people are better off when they're by themselves with one parent because it's unhealthy. We understand that. I think that's just like the elephant in the room. Taking applications, y'all. No, I'm playing.
JR, you're joint muted.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Lakeisha. I know you want to respond to somebody. Go ahead.
No, I'm still saying the same thing. It's still the same. I think maybe because of my experience, I think Dana said the same thing. Is my experience. My experience is I did live in a 2-parent household, but like you guys said, and I think I thought it would have been healthy, but and they both were there every day, all day, but it still was unhealthy. And I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it was still, my dad was present, but he wasn't present. He was more quieter. Like y'all said, it depends on the person, because he ain't say nothing. My mama ran the house, obviously. So it just, they were there, but
Right.
you know what I mean?
Can I just ask a question though?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're can you picture your life as if it was just your mom without your father? And even though he didn't play a major part in maybe like the everyday hands-on, it's like that sense of knowing. It's like, I don't know, come home and you have, knowing you have somebody that has some type of provision, whatever that is, right? But can you think back if he wasn't
Yes,
around?
I can. I think that he was more of the he settled the house more so than the how it's usually the
Which is
roles are
required.
reversed. Yeah, you're right. He more was like, we're not doing that today. Kind of, ignore my mom from yapping. Hey, Keish, just go ahead to your room. We ain't doing all that tonight with your mother. That's kind of how I grew up.
Lakeisha, did you ever like wait in the hallways for a father that was supposed to come to show up that never showed up?
No.
Did you have a parent there for parent and teacher like dances or moments when you needed your father to show up? Did he ever show up?
No.
Damn. When you got in a bind, did he like help you with your like a flat tire or any of those situations?
No.
So he really wasn't like active at all in no way, shape, or form.
He was physically present, but wasn't present.
Hold on. I think we should maybe be asking like a little bit. Our question should maybe be a little bit more. We ask questions to get a more holistic view of what's going on. So, if your father, you're saying that he wasn't present. He was there, but he wasn't there mentally.
Yes.
Okay,
So
so
he's more so like a small in stature. My mom was bigger, more aggressive, more everything.
okay.
He was like, whatever you say, George, kind of guy.
Okay, so you think you would consider your dad to be passive?
Very.
Okay, so your father was passive. Oh, what were you about to say, Mark?
Yeah, but even still, you don't have trauma from not having a father, is what I was trying to get to. Even though you don't seem like he did much help for you, like as far as outwardly the things that fathers typically would be there for, you don't have the trauma of not having one. You don't have the trauma of searching and seeking a father or wondering why your dad don't love you, why you weren't good enough for him to stay around. Or
So I think that's why I was torn because in this conversation, because I'm like, he was there, you know what I mean? Like, and actually, to be all fair, y'all, I am adopted, so I grew up in an adopted home. So, that's a whole nother door, ain't even Pandora's box. So, I live with other people most of my life.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if you know what I mean. That had something to do with it or played a role in it.
It probably has a big role. It plays a big part, I would say.
I know True wanted to add something. Go ahead, True.
Yeah, well, I want to kind of pick on the women for a minute, and not to be mean. I'm gonna use an anecdotal because I'm listening to you guys, Dana, Lakeisha, and even JW, even though yours wasn't as negative. But what I think sometimes happens is, and I'm not a woman, I'm just from what I've observed, because I have a baby sister. She same mom, same dad. We grew up in the same household. You talk to me, I'll tell you my parents are rock stars. I'll tell you I haven't seen any depletion or drop off of love and stability and all that. I never seen it. And I'm the oldest. You talk to my baby sister, she sounds more like maybe a Dana, maybe a Lakeisha, where she'll say, well, daddy didn't do this. And so as her older brother, I've had extensive conversations. And why I'm saying I'm picking on the women is because I think sometimes we as men, we arrive in you guys' minds as what you assume men are supposed to be and what we're supposed to do, without actually getting to a level to understand that every man is going to show up different. TV, I think, sometimes really robs y'all of what it is to actually facilitate a household. Men don't typically come through the door, run to their kid's bedroom, and twirl them around. That don't typically happen. It can happen, but I don't see it to happen most often. What you typically see is that he is present. A lot of conversations, if he's really a man, he's having them in proximity of just him and that woman. The kids are not to know what's going on between a parental unit in a healthy household, right? So basically, as a little girl or a young woman, I think sometimes if she does not see her father arrive the way she feels men are supposed to arrive, then they assume they lost something or they missed something. Not understanding that, just like I have to tell my baby sister, when you used to have nightmares, you used to run across the hall, knock on the door, daddy was there. Imagine if he wasn't. Imagine if you had to have that same emotion and you just had to deal with it. And then maybe mama was there, but maybe she was tired. You know, we didn't grow like that. I didn't have that experience. She didn't have that experience. So I think sometimes with these conversations, a young lady can look at what mom did. Mom was present. Mom was loud. Mom was aggressive. So it'll erase and absorb what they assume the man would have been, not knowing that you grow up very different when you have both parents. I'm a testament to tell you, just the confidence that you get in knowing what type of individual you are and can become, because they instill it in you. If it's a healthy household, they instill things in you they're priceless. And I'll land.
True. Can I just say something off of that? So I think that's a major point. Sorry, there's an echo. Okay. You were saying, how say something happens and, you might run to your dad for that like level of comfort or that protection or whatever. But the same thing with women, when a mom is not there. My mom gave my sister and I to my dad when we were 7 and 6 and 3. So my dad was very like, masculine and, he was 6'4" and big guy, scary. And we were scared of him. But we were missing that nurture, that love, that hug, and, those kind of things, because we didn't really know what to do. But we did have my stepmom. And so she offered that. So I can imagine if we only had my dad, then we would be missing out on that. And that could cause for maybe a lot of masculinity, in us. And just so you know, Dana's my sister. So she, so yeah, we went through, that part. So it's imperative that there's both parts. There's both man and woman, mom and dad.
Well, we get a bad rap sometimes. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. We get a bad rap sometimes because I hear the nurture word a lot, and then we automatically attach it to the woman. Men nurture. Men definitely nurture. Now, it may not be the feminine nurture, but the nurturing is like, you fall off your bike, your dad gonna be like, get up, you got it. That's a nurturing delivery. That's a nurturing, I got your back, I'm gonna show you how to do it. But we don't typically get that, and that's unfortunate because it's necessary for the development of the child. I hear automatically when we talk about nurture, automatically give it to the woman. Men nurture. Just if for those listening that are not on the panel, they nurture. Then I'll land.
Okay, so I just wanted to say, I should have came on and been like, add to, what we were talking about as far as relationships and what we, what a 2-parent household, gives to their children. Well, again, and I shouldn't have come in negative, but that was just my initial, I hear all the great things that, that a 2-parent household adds to, the value of their family and their children. But, I guess, again, my experience, we grew up in a very multiple dysfunctional households. So, but I have raised my kids. I've been with my fiance now for 21 years. Actually 22 years in August. So, we have a 16-year-old and a 7-year-old. I think sometimes we are all going to feel like, at some point we're giving more. I'm giving 80, he's giving 20, 40, 60. Maybe sometimes I can only give 20 and, he's doing the 80. Again, it's all about balance and just trying to do the best you can for your kids. But there are times where, I'm sure anyone has been through, some shit in 22 years in their relationship. But it's more so about sticking it out and trying to move forward. If you can do that, if you can continue to do that and it be healthy for your children. Obviously, they shouldn't be exposed to certain things, but unfortunately, sometimes it is out of your control. You can't help it. So, again, it's just a matter of, balancing each other out. You giving what I can't give. And the nurturing thing, yes, men just nurture in a different way. Like you said, it's more so, they fall and get up. Don't baby them. Their nurturing is, you good? You okay? All right, let's go. Let's keep going. So Yeah, again, I apologize to all the men that are doing their thing and, adding to their, pouring into their children and their relationship. But, it's just I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree with what True was saying, right? But I understand it's the old school idea that men, just kind of played this one role. And I understand that a lot of women getting kind of will diminish what you actually did do, and only talk about what they didn't see. So I understand that completely. A lot of them do that. However, I do think that and a lot of times we can do better. Like one of the things I hate hearing is like, yo, I did my best, right? I hate when I hear people say that. Because no, you didn't. How often is it that any human being did their best at anything? Most of the time we leaving stuff on the table. So even me as a parent, like I'm never gonna say, oh, I did my best today. Did I do my best today? Right. But I think it's as fathers, we should be more emotionally intelligent. We should be showing our kids much more different things than just I pay the bills and I protect you physically. I think it's a lot more as a father that you can do and you should be doing. And I notice that a lot in when I'm in these like red pill spaces. A lot of the guys just kind of like they don't listen a lot, and I think they get upset at me because I do listen. So I see a lot of where we can do better. So though I agree with you, I don't want to overlook the idea that we do as men, we do need to be better. We do need to be, a lot of us do make excuses and just kind of like do that, stay with the bare minimum. I'm a man, I protect you, I pay the bills, right? Because we all grew up with those type of old heads who like, yo, I pay the bills, right? I remember my mom told me one time that the way that men show love is by buying you a gift, right? I don't know. I'm like so affectionate with my kids. I'm so affectionate with my kids. I can't stop kissing them, picking them up, all that. My kids big as shit. Like, cause I'm big. My kids is big, and I still they daddy pick me up. Yeah, they off the ground every day, right? So I don't know.
All right. I did want to switch it up and ask this question: what does a single parent home do better? What does a single parent home do better?
I don't know if a single parent family home can do anything better. Obviously it's always going to be better as a team. And there's a lot of burnout when a mom or a father is doing everything. Everything that should be on two people is strictly on one person, and they're still trying to pour into their kids. Obviously, if you're that type of person, emotionally, mentally, you want to love on them too. You want to make sure they're doing this, doing that. You got to work. You're exhausted. Like, so yeah, I mean, it's not saying that a one parent household can't do something better, but what can it? That's really continues to be a question.
All right. Anyone else on this? What does a single parent home do better? So nobody has no pros whatsoever about a single parent home.
Well, can anybody speak to the perspective? Has anybody ever has anybody been in a single parent home, or has anybody led one?
So after my father died, I guess that would be my parents is married, but after my father died, that would be a single parent home, I guess, because there was only one parent in there for a long time. If anything, I'll say the benefit of it was I learned to cope with stress and keep moving, or I learned to cope through how to try and turn negatives into a positive and be more appreciative. Like when I hear people talk about their parents and stuff, like at school, I'll be like, yeah, that's kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the things that they might not appreciate or be like, it's normal. I was like, damn, being in that situation can give you more gratitude for what you do have. It can give you a greater appreciation of the parent that is there. And it can make you more empathetic to other women in the similar situations, because you can kind of empathize because you saw your mom go through the same situation, or you saw your parents struggle, so you can have some empathy for the women that's in that scenario. It could all the things I'm thinking of are benefits because of or in spite of, though. Like it's like the traumatic experience occurs and then you become better based off of it. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it. And I do think that there's some merit in that. Like I think the best and strongest people come from trauma, but it breaks most people. So I wouldn't recommend it to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think single parent households necessarily create trauma, just in general. But I will say that I think a single father household is better than a two parent household where that's led by a woman. I would prefer that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that a single parent household could potentially, this is me creating it out of not having the experience myself, but just witnessing different children. I noticed that they typically are comfortable talking to adults. And that's mainly because they don't have that ability to shift, exchanges of speech between two parties. It's one party. So they're talking, whether it's a mom or whether it's a dad, they typically have somewhat of a comfort, but maybe that's a pro. Sometimes the lack of the other parent gets them to arrive at the severity of situations, time and resources and things that you wouldn't have the ability to, I guess, take advantage of because the lacking of abundance per se. I have seen that. So that could be a pro. But like Marcus said, it's in spite of, because it's always going to be an imbalance to a degree. No.
Oh, another thing in spite of is like the vow to not be in the same situation. Like a lot of people who was raised by single parents is like, I swear I'm never doing this, and I'm going to ensure that I get have a two-parent household and that I'm present and active for my kids, and I try and be the best parent possible. But again, that's an in spite of scenario.
Yeah, I can't see there being any direct benefit. Even White, the last point you made, that could be the mindset of a particular individual, but like for like, you're talking about people who come from single parent homes generally repeat the cycle and vice versa. So all of these things, they're like, you're talking about circumstances after the fact. But as far as a direct benefit, can't see one.
All right, what about you, Miss Pearl?
I would
What you
have to agree
think
with
over
that.
there? No, go ahead. And I'll go back
I
to
would have
Miss
to
Pearl.
agree with that. I don't see a direct benefit as, you know, if somebody had a choice or you have two parents or one. Let's see. I think somebody's always going to choose two. Typically, I would say I would agree with was it Marcus? It could, because you're working so much harder, it's going to add stress. That's what it's going to add. It's going to add extra stress because now you have to be able to provide. And let's not, even mention whether it's one child, two children, three, however many children, that the more kids, obviously you have to work harder. So I think it creates a level of stress that is definitely unwarranted. But it can cause maybe bonding with your children a little bit stronger just because pretty much what Marcus was saying, like, you have a better appreciation for what your parent is doing. Maybe it's like, okay, well, we don't have enough money to provide, X, Y, and Z. And this is just if you're maybe like lower income. So it's like you have a little bit more appreciation as you get older. And when you're adulting yourself, this is what I came from. I saw my parent, whether it's, a dad or mom, work extra hard. But I would say, I do believe that a father, I don't even want to say that. Nah, I don't even want to say that. I was going to say, I do believe a single father can handle a household better than a single mother.
You'd be right if you said it.
I think that would be if somebody was purposeful, because if my ex-husband was raising my children on his own, boy, oh boy, so I don't, I had to take it back.
All right, go ahead, Pearl.
So,
Hold on, Dan. I'm coming right to you. Let's get Miss Pearl in there. Miss Pearl, can you hear me? There you go. There you go.
Every Thursday. What was the question? I came in late.
What does this? It's right at the bottom
Hey,
right there. What does
everybody.
a parent home do better?
Don't do that to me. What does a single parent home do better? Is that versus a two-parent family that is toxic? Because if it's a two-parent family that's at its most beneficial state, I don't think the single parent is really doing anything better. They're actually struggling. That's subjective. What single parent home are we looking into? You got to critically analyze that. If the parent is at their most productive and they're just single for whatever reason, you said, oof. Again, the benefits would be whatever state that person is in. So if they're in a healthy mental state, they're going to pass that to the children. If they're in a healthy emotional or spiritual state, they're going to pass that to the children. If they're not and they're overloaded or they're imploding with stress and responsibilities and the daily duties, they're going to check out. They're not going to be emotionally available because that's going to become a burden. It's going to be like one extra thing on top of the million other things that they never have enough time, money, and space to do anything. So, I mean, it's hypothetical, but again, it's always subjective. This is dependent on who's raising the people, because we can put, and then we've seen individuals, both a single man and a single woman, both raise successful children. So this is going to be very subjective depending on the circumstances, the condition, the resources, and any outside support that the individual has when raising these children. I'll land.
Okay, go ahead, Dana.
I don't even remember what what I was going to say. But Miss Pearl put it in the best words. As to, again, everything is subjective. Kind of where I was initially going in the beginning.
A quick question: did everybody grow up in two-parent households? I heard a few people. Did anybody grew up in a single family home? Everybody had two parents.
Both.
I got
At
my mom.
times, two parents.
You just had your mom, right?
Just my mom. My dad was in my life to a degree, but we live with my mom primarily.
All right.
You know, I had one thing that I wanted to kind of throw out there. I don't know this, but I think a two-parent household, it may tend to make a man more lazy when it comes to parenting. And I'm just going off of anecdotal evidence, right? A lot of guys, and not even just, well, I think having them with the mom also make men lazy too. But a lot of men tend to kind of fall back on that, you know, the mom in the house, I'm go to work, you know, do like, and just we kind of fall back a lot. And I say that because I know people who, like, when they tell me about their experience with their fathers and stuff, a lot of their fathers like just fell back like hard. And whenever mom, let me know what you need. But outside of the mom letting the dad know exactly what she needed, he just was falling back. But I know it's the same thing though. If your kids are with the mother in a single parent household, that'll make you lazy too. If they have them most of the time, you know, like a lot of fathers just be like, yo, what you need from me? Let me know what you need, and I'm gonna come and do what I gotta do. Versus like me, I got my kids most of the time, so I'm doing most of the stuff. So, but I do think we can kind of like lean on that sometimes.
Okay. Let me ask this question. And are we afraid to admit some single parents outperform couples?
I'm sure they do. And that's fucking phenomenal.
Which ones? Can you give us an example of what you're talking about?
Yeah, performance. Yeah, what's the definition of the performance per se? Like,
I mean, just better parents. I mean, overall, you know, the outcome of the kids. They've raised some amazing kids versus couples. Because
Now, I think so. I think maybe because of this whole conversation, because like y'all said from the very beginning, when it's two, it's projected or should be more healthy or should be this way. But if was a fifth, y'all know the rest of that. But so I think that, yeah, I don't think I've ever heard, even you stating that right now, I've never heard no one to even be open to even saying that a single parent would outperform two.
Yeah.
So I was thinking. So yeah, I'm thinking like what I was explaining about the in spite of, like some people can become the strongest people through trauma, like through going through extreme loss and then persevering through that stuff. And then you could get like a LeBron, or you could get like somebody that has a scar that makes them stronger. So yeah, in that case, but again, in general, I wouldn't prescribe it for everyone based off the fact that a lot of people is going to break permanently in a lot of different ways, or create scars that don't make them stronger, that don't heal back the right way, that lead them walking through life mad at men or mad at women or mad at society, or just angry in general based off of feeling like they wasn't loved, that didn't get something that they needed growing up. Right? It can happen, but it's possibility versus probability.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think
was
it's a
going to say, I
lot of.
think it's,
Oh, go ahead,
I'm
brother.
sorry, Mark.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, I think it boils down to a person's level of maturity. Their structure that they have. Not everybody has a level of structure to, have like a nice flowing household. You can have a woman who can raise a bunch of children and maybe they're all successful, but then you have two parents who are drug addicts or who are in domestic violent relationship, and they raise children and they're not as successful, so I really think that like it's just like a game as far as like who is mentally, emotionally mature enough to be able to have a child and give them all the love and support and nurturing that they should. We're teaching these kids life skills. Some adults don't even know, they don't even have a level of keenness to even know what life skills, where they are in life. So that's kind of like I forget what Marcus called it.
The military was my escape. Even though I had two-parent household, that was my purpose for joining, to get away from that two-parent household. Crazy work, but
I don't think it. If I'm being honest, I don't think it comes down to whether it's a 2 or 1 parent household. I truly think that it's just the person who has the kids, and I just think it happens to be more likely that if you are from a 1 parent household, that person just is likely just a worse person, just not not a good person. If you have a single parent who is a well-rounded person, then you'll be fine, right? I think we do put too much stock into the other things, like, oh, get married, and like, because people think getting married is a prescription. If you was fucked up before you was married and you pick fucked up women, it's gonna be a fucked up marriage, right? Getting married is not the prescription. So I think it's much better if good people are having kids in general, whether you marry, whether you're in a 2-parent household, it's all gonna be better than being coming from fucked up people. So
Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah, no, so I can't necessarily agree with that wholeheartedly because, again, forget the whole marriage thing. I don't really subscribe to the Uncle Sam's version of marriage that we deal with today. That to me doesn't mean anything. But the co-parenting part of it is undeniable. Undeniable. I mean, if you look this up and you see what the result is, apples versus apples, without putting any weird uh I guess pre-qualifiers on there like healthy. If you take it for what it is and you just say, all right, look at a large sample size, then you're gonna come up with the outcome that yes, it's objectively better for children to be raised in a two-parent households for many reasons that people mentioned tonight. Just having a second perspective, for another person to have that load taken off of them, right? Because raising children is exhausting. There's a lot to it, to do it the right way. So for you to have someone that's going to hold you down and co-parent with you, it makes things a lot easier. And even the other point with like men being lazy per se, I think that if you're a well-oiled machine, everybody understands their assignment. If I pass you the ball, just stand behind the damn line and chuck it up when it's time. And that's all you really got to do. You ain't got to do much else, but just as long as everybody understands the assignment and everybody sticks to the script, I think you can always work. And it's not necessarily lazy unless one person is deliberately lacking and the other person's overwhelmed. But sometimes we just know what our assignment is. Some people are required to do more, some people are better at doing more. And as long as you can find that overall balance, you're good to go, in my opinion.
I think it's lazy. I think, well, like when you can do more, like, and you just fall back. I think that's kind of like being lackadaisical. I guess we can call it. I think men are so important in their kids' lives. It's my personal opinion. I think a man in his relationship with his kids is more important than a mom. Just my personal opinion. I could be completely wrong. However, I think the more, like, my kids don't act up my kids do not act up. They don't do nothing wrong when they're around me, when they with me. Like when I'm, like, the more time I spend with them, I notice the difference, right? Like they don't want to go and go on YouTube. They don't want it. Like they just want it. Like if I'm around them, they just want to, like, I can tell how bad they want to be good when they're around me. Like my daughter act different around me. She turned into a baby and she turned into like this good girl. Yes, please. No, please. Like she turns into that when she's around me, because it's just like, I want to be good around my dad. Like I want to. This is what I want to portray to the world when I'm around him. So I don't know. I think that relationship that a man has with his daughter, if she actually can trust you, and it's not like one of those things where you just kind of like only being a disciplinarian, and even with your son, I think that that's the most important relationship they ever going to have. So,
all right. So, let me ask you this.
So, I agree with that point of it wholeheartedly. Right, that part that you just said, it didn't refute anything I said, and I completely agree with that part of it. That the man is actually more important to the children's outcome, but that's also based on, if you look up the data, it's going to tell you the same thing. If you look at parents that are raised with single fathers versus single mothers, the single fathers metrics are pretty damn close to what you would find with the dual parent household. And in my opinion, and I think you agree with it, it's the discipline and structure and them just understanding we're more organized when it comes to being purposeful. That's just what it is. We know how to run a ship, and that structure is what's going to give your children the ability to learn. So I completely agree with you on that.
So like Lakeisha's point of, I had a father, but he wasn't very, he was just there, right? I do think a lot of men kind of like peek their head in when it's time to peek their head in, and they just like kind of go do their thing to so to speak. And that's what I consider lazy. Like if you are a kid or a woman who feels like, I don't have a super close relationship with my father where I can tell him anything, and I know that even though he's going to correct me, at the same time I know he still loves me, and he's going, whatever problem I'm going through, we're going to find a solution. I think that if you don't have that type of relationship, then I think you are being lazy. If you don't have that relationship,
I think you're bumming it if your children don't feel comfortable talking to you, then you did something wrong where the communication lines aren't open.
I wouldn't agree with that. I think that's not correct, because just because a child doesn't feel a lot of times there's certain parents where a child may fear that parent, and just say a father. If you have a father who, he might go play sports with the kids or things like that, but it's known like, I'm gonna tell your dad, or the child isn't going to feel comfortable maybe with opening up. And that's how, because I experienced it. I didn't feel comfortable with opening up. It wasn't until I got older and I had a different level of understanding of how my dad thought. Um, always wanted to protect us. You always got to do your best and making sure that, you put this first. And, so I disagree with that.
So you don't think that there was
yeah,
possibly a way to have more of a balance, like for real? Like you don't think that he did something wrong with the communication to create a barrier to where he instilled more fear into you than understanding, and haven't made the necessary efforts to make sure that you were able to have comfortable conversations with him? I think the onus lies on him, or did, or whatever, but there was something that he did wrong at some point to
Oh, well, he
break
did a
that
lot
line
of
of
things wrong, but
communication.
I was just using that as an example. But I think there are a lot of times people, I put in the chat, but a lot of times children are more fearful of their father to disappoint
But
them than
why?
their
But
actual
why?
mother.
Right? It's not like people just
Because the
naturally have a
father,
fear
I
of
feel like,
God
is
from
the
their father.
structure. The father is the structure, right?
Yeah, but that's not the. You can absolutely provide structure, and part of that structure is the communication. So it's
This is
not
true.
like two things can't be right at the same time. That if you aren't providing that open line of communication, then you are failing at structure, because
Hey,
that's a
Dad, you
major
know
part
what?
of it.
I kissed this boy. It's a lot different than Mom, I kissed this boy. You're not gonna have a lot of times there's certain topics that you just don't feel comfortable with sharing
But,
with your dad.
but how should a father react to that? Should I get mad?
Right.
Should I scream? Like, what should I do for
Well,
my daughter?
I think that it would depend on if it's your daughter or your son.
Well, I don't want my son telling me to kiss the boy at all, right? But let's say
No,
the
girl.
daughter.
I'm saying a girl. If your son,
Hey, yo.
you know what, my,
Yeah,
I'm
Yo,
saying if
Matt,
your son came
real
out and
quick.
said, "Yeah, I kissed a girl," it'd be a lot different, than you just threw me off with that. No,
I
I'm
wouldn't
just
have a
saying,
different
like, there's
reaction.
certain conversations I'm not saying you would be like, "Oh yeah, high five." Your daughter she may not feel comfortable with sharing certain things, like, I'm ready. I think I might be ready to kiss him, or even, I want to go on a date, as opposed to like the mom. A lot of fathers instill this level of fear where it's like, nobody's good enough to date my daughter, or no, you can't date until you're 18.
Hmm. And I think all of that is like the nobody's good enough to date my daughter thing. Like, I think that men have to be careful with unrealistic expectations as far as like moving, like pushing your daughter away, not making her feel comfortable talking to you. I wouldn't respond differently to my son and daughter if they told me they kissed somebody. I wouldn't be necessarily trying to put them on punishment or whoop them, right? I'd be asking a lot of questions, right? Because I want to understand their perspective. I want to understand why you did what you did, or I want you to understand what you are doing, right? Like, I'm even like, listen, I'm a disciplinarian, right? So it's somebody in my family who always call me with my teenage nephews, right? And I think that part of the reason that they respect me is because even though I'm the only person that can discipline them, like the mom, like it don't matter how many times she whoop them, it don't do nothing, right? When she called me and they put me on the phone and he's telling me his perspective, and then I asked her perspective, right? It don't always end in him getting in trouble. It might end in her having to learn something, right? So he understands that Uncle Mont reasonable. Like, no matter what it is, I know that he's reasonable and he hears me, right? Whereas that, his mom might not be in a position to hear him. Their relationship, their dynamic might be so, whatever it is, that she don't hear him and she might not hear herself. So sometimes I got to tell her, like, hey, like, this is what he's saying and this is what you did. And, also you should upgrade the way that you communicate to him, because, I hear you raising your voice and he's only going to grow up to continue to raise his voice whenever he's trying to solve a problem. Right. So I think that that's part of the reason that they respect me and is willing to. I'm always willing. I talk to them before I try to put my hands on somebody.
So, Mark, let me ask you this: if you, I'm sure you're an amazing role model and father, right? If you had a choice to start from scratch, do you choose to be a single father, or do you have a two-parent household? And whatever choice you make, why, and why not the opposite?
I'll be in a two-parent household because I'm in one now, right? I'm in one now. My lady, like we work in tandem. Even though that they're my birth kids, right? But we work in tandem. But if I could choose to be with the like, for example, like once we get married, we have more kids. I told her I want a lot of kids. But we wait until we, get married, to have the rest of our kids. But I want a ton of kids. I want 10. I want 10. I want as many as I can. As many I can afford, right?
Why
So-
do you want a 2-parent household? What's the reason?
Oh,
Because
I just-
like when I'm listening to you, it sounds like you kind of advocating that single parent households are fine. So I'm asking, like, what would be the purpose of having a 2-parent household in your opinion?
I think a single parent household can be fine, absolutely. But I think a 2-parent household will always be optimal if you can have 2 balanced people. I think that'll be optimal. Not one person having to do everything. Y'all kind of it's like imagine you having a business and you can have somebody else to run that business with you that you can trust. Most of the time, we don't trust nobody as entrepreneurs. But imagine if we had somebody who cared just as much about that business as we did. We would, oh hell yeah, come on my team. Let's split this. Let's split this down the middle. Let's take it to the moon. But the problem is finding somebody that you trust enough that's going to care about that business the way that you care about that business and treat it like you treat it, to do that with. But I'm pretty sure like we all can say that it's better to have somebody else with that same mindset that we can lean on. Because I might have to be in Seattle one day, but I don't trust nobody else to go to Seattle but me. That puts me at a disadvantage if I could trust somebody else to be in Seattle right now and I didn't have to be in Seattle and I could be here doing something else. So.
Okay. So for the record, you agree then? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's more optimal to have 2 parents if you can. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let me ask this question then. Have you personally seen a 2-parent home fail a child? Have you personally seen it?
Seen a bunch of 2-parent homes create suboptimal human beings. A ton of them.
Okay.
It happens all the time.
I've never seen a 2-parent household fail a child as much as I've seen a single or absent parent household fail. Like the 2-parent households that I've seen, that kind of like the child didn't come out. I guess what you would determine as a valid member of society, that kind of was the child decision. Like the child was kind of just a fuck up. Like the parents did a lot for them and they just was choosing to do what they wanted to do. And it's kind of like they, I don't know the inner workings of their every single day life. Maybe it was something that I was missing, but from the outside looking in, it looked like they was, fairly decent parents, and that child just wanted to do what they wanted to do because they was hard-headed. Now, I've been like I known like people who like had no contact with their father. Their mother was on drugs, and they really got they end up getting deleted. Several of my friends that I grew up with in that scenario, I can't recall a kid from a 2-parent household that I grew up with that got deleted when we was young. I just came back. I can recall several from one or inadequate 0 kind of parents, essentially, like one parent on drugs. They like back and forth between custody or whatever. Yeah, I don't have a one guy, he had like a mental illness, so I don't know if you can't attribute that to the parents, and he didn't do anything extra wrong. He just never panned out anything because the depression and all that stuff kind of had him in a funk for his whole life. The rest of them, they just maybe didn't live up to their potential, but it ain't like they got deleted or they really was wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say my background is in sorry.
I was going to say this real quickly. One of the things that we got to keep in mind, and I've learned this my elder age, is that even though we think we are doing an amazing job, it doesn't necessarily mean that the child got everything that they needed, everything that they wanted when it comes to you being a parent to them. And a lot of times kids don't even know how to even respond to that when they're young. And so you see some of these behaviors play out, and they don't even really know what's going on unless you can just kind of channel it in a certain way. So just be mindful as parents, even as we continue to parent now, that there may have been some mishaps. You may have thought you was perfect and you've done so many things, you bought them everything, they didn't want for anything, but unless you check with them in a certain way, It's one of those things that you will never know. But go ahead, JW.
No, I kind of was in that scenario. Like I felt like I kind of handicapped my daughter at first because I was doing everything under the sun, like giving her private events. She was spoiled. You know, she felt like everything was just supposed to be for her alone. She didn't have to interact with other people. She was supposed to always get a private screening or a private event, and she just got real spoiled and didn't want to communicate with other kids at first that wasn't related to her or invited. And she thought she could kick anybody out of any place because it was her event. Like, so I kind of had to get out of that. That's one thing I did as a 2-parent home. And I felt kind of like man, I kind of messed up, but I've since course corrected, and she's, you know, like she's extremely extroverted and friendly with the people we're not related to. But yeah, I was like doing the spoil you riding shit, kind of.
I was just gonna say, my background is in social service right now. So this is what I do. I work with at-risk youth who have a history of trauma. I train on trauma in the brain, with adults, with, you know, nurtured heart and things like that, and just how to make connections with people. And so I see often that there are 2-parent households, but there's still some type of disconnect. And a lot of the kids that I service may have had 2-parent households, but I'll just give an example. One, her mom was a doctor. Her dad was a lawyer. She's ripping and running in the street. She's having people come over her house all the time. She's disrespectful to her parents. They could not control her whatsoever. But there are 2 people who are living in a big, beautiful, you know, almost $1 million home, giving her a great education in a very expensive area, everything that they thought that they were doing right. And I still had to take her under my wing. You know, she still wasn't doing the things that she should have been doing. She wasn't going to school. She dropped out, and her parents couldn't control her. And so when I look back and I dissect it, they were providing, but they were providing financially, but they weren't providing time with her. So they weren't offering her that emotional safety. They had to work. They, you know, it's like pacify, here you go. If we give you money to do this, give you money to do that, you know, you'll be okay. Oh, sure, you can go hang out with your friends, but not paying attention. You know, they're working around the clock, not paying attention that, you know, she's not even doing her schoolwork. They're getting phone calls. She's not showing up to school. So, you know, I've seen that.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think that having 2 parents guarantees the best results. And that's kind of hard to quantify. The reason why is, in my opinion, I think 2 parents give you the best chance of knowing how to navigate life as an adult. That's what I think 2 parents does. It raises the children from a balanced perspective. However, at a certain point, that child becomes an individual, becomes an adult, has other influences and so many components. And it's very hard to measure what you did right until that kid reaches a point of maturation where you can actually depict. Like, I would say 25, 30 plus is where you typically will start to see if I did a good job. Because sometimes I think parents emphasize how great they're doing based on the behavior that the kid has. But if they're 6, 7, 8, that is not a good depiction, in my opinion. This is a long-term marathon type of situation. You got to give them a few decades to see if the lessons and all you put in place for them to succeed actually came to fruition. And a lot of times we emphasize too much on the fact that it's just 2 parents. Family is not one mom, one dad. Family is lineage. My mom, one dad supposed to come from one mom, one dad, uncles, aunts, cousins. This is a whole tribe situation. And a lot of times people don't have tribes. You don't have grandma to go kick it with or cousins to kick it with. So sometimes the development that you would see if you was to look at kids maybe mid-century when they had that to now, it's a whole completely different depiction of children because you got a chance to get different stimuli and lessons from cousins and uncles and all of those people. It wasn't just the parents, is what I'm saying. I think nowadays being a parent is kind of like a thankless job because society puts so much pressure on you having to do the corporate thing, the credit thing, the business thing, then the parent thing, and do it all seamlessly. You know, like I appreciate M. White even sharing, you know, his course correction of what he did, and that's real. Like you do certain things, and you got to kind of taper back. But I just want to add.
I had one example that I wanted to. I forgot to give y'all about like the single parent thing, but it was when I was taking my kids to jujitsu, right? It was another dad there who had 2 sons, and we kind of would bond over bringing our kids to jujitsu or whatever. And I remember one time, like I used to always hear him like speak to his kids in Spanish. I'm like, oh, he probably like he looked my complexion, but I'm like he probably Dominican, something like that. And one day I asked him, I'm like, oh, so you like you Latino, Dominican, or something like that? He's like, no, I'm not Dominican. I'm like, oh, okay, like their mom probably Spanish. You speak to him around the house in Spanish. He like, nah. I'm like, oh, cause I be seeing y'all speaking Spanish. He like, it's just one of the things I wanted to give my kids. So, I learned Spanish enough, and then I make sure that they say things to me in Spanish back and stuff like that. And I just was kind of like, wow, like, he was a single, he had a girlfriend, but he was a single dad for the most part. And I just was like, wow, like you meet a lot of, like, you hear all the propaganda and stuff about dads and stuff like that, but you actually get to meet a lot of people, a lot of fathers who like really doing their thing out here. And I just was like, I was like astonished, like wow, you learned Spanish to teach you. And his oldest was probably 10, his smallest one was probably 3, right? And I was like, damn, like, I appreciated that. So
yeah. Scam, you want to say something?
I'm just gonna say 2 parents usually better than 1. More than likely you're better off in 2-parent household than 1. I grew up with 2 parents. They just happen to be uglier than me. But the good things is that you get 2 different views, you get 2 different viewpoints, you get to watch the dynamic of relationship. The bad thing is everything that fails in a 2-parent household usually spills over into the kids, just like a 1-parent. So if you got 2 dusty parents, you're getting double dust. You got 2 problems. In a lot of conversations, people mention 2-parent households like it's a fix, as if just because they're there, something is better. And that's not always the case. A lot of y'all got posters, shoes, and whatever of the very single moms that a lot of people complain about. Y'all are wearing their hats, jerseys, and whatever, raised from single moms. And a lot of people you can't stand came up in 2-parent households. And some of those bad values might be so instilled that you can't get those out. But 2 over 1 is usually better. The neighbor where I grew up, most people it was more 2-parent households. That's just what I know.
Okay. Let me ask y'all this one then. So if 2 is better, why isn't it consistent?
Because the parents ain't consistent, or because people aren't consistent individually or together. Mm-hmm. Therefore, that inconsistency just lingers around.
I mean, what does that mean for the people that's watching? That they're not consistent in what?
Anything.
Communication, all of that.
Huh?
I think she said communication.
Communication, diet, fitness, spirituality, business, pretty much everything. And if you just take inconsistent on the East and 1 inconsistent on the West, you got inconsistency in your household. It's just now 2 people instead of 1. And you'll have inconsistent kids, inconsistent neighbors, and inconsistent environment. And we see a lot of that.
If I had to answer that question, I would probably say, I mean, that was some good points. I think consistency is a part of it, but I don't think there's no blueprint on how to be a parent. And unless you realize that, I think you will probably struggle as a parent. If you are intentional about getting better and actually open to hearing and seeing how parenting goes, because it's truly a sacrifice. And I think a lot of people are still trying to find themselves. They're still trying to get what they couldn't get when they was young. And so they're not making the kids a priority, in which the kids need to be a priority. I mean, that was me. When I was younger, I didn't really realize I thought I was a good parent until I got old and I looked back and I started seeing some things that I could have done better. And so now, present day, I actually think that I'm making some progress um, on child number 3. So he's going to be the one to actually reap the benefits fully. And when I look back at my oldest, I see the things that I could have done better. But you don't know. You don't know. Like nobody's sitting here telling you. And if you come from a broken home or a home where they weren't good parents either, then where are you going to get this information from? A lot of examples that I've seen from parents have been from people on the internet. I just sit back and I observe. I have conversations with people that I've met throughout the years, and I'm just seeing things and I'm putting it all together. But a lot of people don't even think on that frequency because they're still thinking about themselves. And it makes it difficult for the child. And you wouldn't be surprised. You'd be surprised how many kids are really struggling with things that they have not expressed to you yet. There are some things that you don't know. And unless you have conversations with them, like even when you riding, right, dropping them off to school, you listening to music, are you on your phone? Are you on a tablet? Or are you having conversations with them? You should be having conversations with them to see what it is that they have going on. And it's hard to be a parent. I'm not going to even lie. It's very difficult because there are so many variables that come into play. And if your child is not around you 100% of the time, or most of the time, then you have to factor those things in as well. Like it's an ongoing thing where you can't give up. You cannot give up on them, and you have to even go harder. Like you have to literally dedicate your life. And I told people that's why you don't see me streaming as much, as because I'm spending a lot more time with the kids because you can't get this time back. Like they actually need you, and you got to parent daughters different from parenting sons. It's kind of one of those things that you don't really understand unless you in it. Like they need you in different ways, and depending on what they got going on, they may need you more. They may need you to step up and do this. You might have to show up. You might have to have these conversations. And I think Mott made a good point earlier too, as far as having structure. But that person has to have structure. I think Scam hinted on this. If you got somebody that they still trying to figure it out in life, that's going to bleed over into their kids and their household as well. So you got people having kids. They don't mentally have a capacity to even exist on a logical frequency. And it's just total chaos. It's chaos in their worlds, chaos in their head space. It's chaos in their house. It's chaos in their relationship that they have in a family with friends. It's just all over the place. So just make a sacrifice, man. Just understand the importance of it's not about you no more. It's about them. Like you already, if your life is effed up, it's just effed up. You can attack it a little at a time, but you just got to make sure that they life not messed up. And it ain't 100%. Nothing in life is a 100% guarantee, but at least you put forth the effort and you can try to see if you can make a difference, making sure that they don't turn out the same way that you did.
Something I think a lot of parents should do more. I think whenever you have the opportunity to apologize, I think you should. And I think a lot of parents don't. But if you ever have the opportunity where you notice that you were wrong, I think that you should make it a point to tell your kid sorry. I was wrong. I jumped the gun. I thought that you said this, or I thought that you did that, and I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's studies behind that. So I was watching the parenting channel the other day, and they was talking about that, and they said that some people believe that it's a sign of being a good leader when you're never wrong and you're always strong and right. But what you're essentially doing is training the kids that they can't make mistakes when you can't apologize yourself. So by you being able to apologize, admit fault, it can give them more trust in you and know that mistakes are mistakes and they can be corrected. And nobody is perfect, but they can come to you with those mistakes, and hopefully you can work through it. Like with my kids, I try not to. So they'll if they was gonna get punished, let's say 5% or 50%. Honesty is the other 50% of that. So I'm rewarding the honesty from a scenario even more so than the action, because I want to instill that you come to me and have the conversation about what's going on and you be honest with me. So when you get older, we'll already have that relationship. So if you was going to be on punishment 2 days for the issue, if you're honest with me, then it's going to be maybe 1.5 or 1 day. But if you lie, then it's 4 days. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll be double punished for not telling the truth and not owning up to it and not coming to me with the issue. Just to train that it's better to come to me because I'm going to try and help you, right? I'm going to try and fix it plus help you. There's a consequence, but I'm always going to be on your side, but I need the truth so I know how we can move through this scenario. And trying to lie or hide something for me is only going to make the situation worse for yourself. So I'm really trying to ingrain them with that because honestly, you don't know what your kid's going to run into as far as external outside influences. And the best thing you got is for them to tell you what's going on. So I try and get like an update whenever they leave my wife and go to their family house or any of the, like when they come home, I'm trying to, hey, how was this? Well, I'm checking the mood, the temperature, because I just want them to get used to running through, explaining the positive and the negative to me so I can get a very fair understanding of what they're going through. And I could judge their moods based off of that because I know them real well because I have those conversations with them every time they leave my site.
You'd be surprised how fast they forgive you too. You apologize to you. You'd be like, it's okay, daddy. It's all right. Like.
No, Mont, it's funny that you say that. If you could apologize, because I'm 46 now. Can y'all hear me? Because I'm driving.
We can hear you. Yeah.
But okay, I'm 46 now, and I just recently, before my mom passed, spoke to her about some things when I was growing up. And that I don't think she never knew. She never really knew why I really wanted to leave home. She never, you know what I mean? I just up and left. So we talked over some things. It's been 2 years now, but that was my first time hearing I'm sorry. And that trumped anything that, had happened all those years. But just to hear that at 44 at the time meant the whole lot. She passed maybe 4 months later, but to hear that after all that time. So I'm definitely with you, Mont, when you said that kind of struck a little nerve, but yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and ask this next question. Can a father teach femininity effectively?
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about it?
Wait. Now, is he finna teach his daughter like how to do her hair, makeup? No, these are like mannerisms. And you would think a man would be experienced in learning the proper mannerisms from women if he's had a plethora of experiences with plenty of them, right? So he knows how a woman should talk, how she should walk, how she should present herself, like her expectations. That comes from him encountering women, even women that he found to be unsavory, right? So if femininity is really about like the qualities that you embody, I think you all as men who are literally our counterparts, you should be experienced in that. I could be wrong because, man, I'm just a woman, but I'm going to let y'all, since it was posed as men, if y'all could do it, I think so. I could be wrong, so I land.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I don't think it's something that you teach. I think femininity is an energy that you embody. So if your daughters have the space to be feminine, then they'll be feminine. If they have the opportunity, if that's their role to be feminine, they will be feminine. The same way like an adult woman. It's femininity is like, it's just like my daughter is extremely feminine. She's just extremely feminine, but I don't put her in a space where she has to be masculine. I mean, when she in wrestling, it's a little bit more, like you got to be a little bit hard body in there, but outside of that, she's feminine because she's in the space to be. So yeah, I think depending on how masculine you are, well, that'll determine how feminine she is.
I think it's almost like a secondhand teaching of femininity from a man, because I don't see how a man can teach a woman or their daughter to be feminine properly or effectively unless they're actually feminine themselves. I mean, you can teach her the qualities that that you may see, or that you may think that this is how a woman should be and things like that. But it's just like a woman can't teach a man to be a man. She's not masculine in that sense, but she can teach him the things that, you know, certain structures and things, how he should carry himself as a man. But I don't, that's a little.
I got a little pushback for Jay. Maybe even a question. Because I would have to say I agree with I would disagree with you from the standpoint that a man has to be feminine in order to teach femininity and be effective at it. How did you know, Jay, as a woman, that a man was supposed to open your door?
Because my dad showed me that. That's why I said secondhand, in a sense of what you should be, how you should be treated, the things that you should do. But go ahead.
True about
well,
that.
No, I can leave it there for that example. We can go across a number of them, but basically, I think we're ineffective in ability to teach you how to emotionalize being a woman. No, we'll never know how to do that. That's not our gift. But I do think
so. Probably what I'm thinking when I hear that. Which is why I said maybe elaborate, just so I can.
Well, because when I think our job is to create the structure in the environment. I think if you're entrusted under my tutelage as, you know, my daughter in that capacity of being a father, it's my job to instruct you on what you're supposed to expect, how you're supposed to arrive, how you're supposed to conduct oneself as a young lady. That is a feminine training, you know, it's instruction. So, yeah, I think we can definitely be effective in it. I think a lot of reasons why you don't see a lot of feminine women now is because there is no men to give that further and doubling down in instruction. They're being taught by women incorrectly of what it is. That women to women is just
good point. That's a good point.
Well, thank you. Yeah, women to women are just women. That doesn't mean that she's necessarily carrying through her level of maturation and development. I think that comes from us, and that's why we're so vital, in my opinion. And then I'll land.
And I would ask everybody to just take a step back before they answer this and like really think about it holistically. Like, if there's an all-woman household, does that mean that they're going to be producing an extremely feminine product? Because I know that typically the women that I meet who have fathers and brothers, they're typically the most feminine women that I meet. And you can almost tell when a woman has been around that type of energy because she's never had to embody masculine energy. She could always call her dad, call her brother. Oh, like, I don't like the energy here. Let me call my dad, come pick me up, right? Whereas another type of girl who might have been raised with all women is like, she ready to fight. You know, she ready to, you know, so yeah.
I do agree with that because I've seen it on the opposite, where there was a man who was raised by his mom and all sisters, and he was like the nicest person as far as, like, you know, kind of had like a level of understanding, knew how to speak to a woman, making sure they kind of just like understood. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, I think it can be influenced, but not taught. I think when you say taught is as if there's a 6-year-old girl and she's masculine and you're trying to teach her how to go all the way to feminine. I can't see a dude doing that. Not a straight one. But by science, women are naturally going to be feminine. That's what they are. Outside factors and lifestyles and culture, other stuff start to get them to be off. Just like a man is naturally, or a boy is naturally still going to be a boy. But put it in the right environment, like Mont was saying, you can influence them to stay on that track. But teaching as if you're going to turn them all the way from one to the other, in my mind, I can't picture a man doing it or a woman doing it for a man or being but so effective.
Yeah, so Scam, I think y'all make a good point. I think femininity kind of is something that's preserved, right? So the more they have somebody to protect them, the more they have somebody that they can get assistance from, the less they have to tap into some aggressive self-protection mode. So like a lot of the men will talk about trauma that women have within relationships, but that's based off of them dealing with men and having to figure things out themselves. And the older they get, the more typically bad interactions and the more the more unladylike some people can become in those scenarios, right? When it comes to like with my wife, for example, I think her not having to be single as an adult and deal with all these other men has been able to help her preserve a specific type of energy that would be considered extremely feminine by most people, because it's dainty, it's soft, it's not dealing with a lot of just traumatic ass experiences or having to defend yourself, or not. Like, she always know, like, yeah, I can call my man at any time. He gonna come handle this shit, so I don't have to have any type of energy whatsoever. But to the point that knowing that you're gonna have to get up and fight for yourself, that do change you as a person. It changed how you interact with people. It changed how you perceive situations. And if you feel like you have to protect yourself, you can't let things go. You have to be on top of everything, because nobody has you but you. And you can't preserve femininity in that type of environment. They kind of gotta, they're in survival mode, protection mode. A lot of women will talk about, like, I'm operating in survival mode right now, or I was operating in previous relationships in survival mode. That's why I couldn't get into the energy that maybe could have kept the man or made it go how it was supposed to go. And yeah, I don't think you could teach a woman how to be feminine, because it's the energy, and we don't, as men, like Scam said, we don't teach you how to do that, straight men at least. But we can preserve your femininity and preserve the thing that makes that energy special, and not taint it.
You can a mother teach masculinity effectively? It's the same question, but just flipped around. Can a mother teach masculinity effectively? Hello? Anybody can go. Jay Prince, can a mother teach masculinity effectively?
I would say yes and no. I appreciate the masculinity. Hold on, let me turn this up.
What, you in the
I
hospital?
appreciate the masculinity that black mothers taught us. You can hear me?
Yeah, what, you at a psych ward?
You can hear me?
Yeah.
No, I'm at work. You know, I'm a caregiver.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's going
I
on.
wipe
seen
ass
some
and shit.
medical. Okay, well, hey.
Yeah. So I like the masculinity that our black mamas taught us compared to the black men. And when this is where I disagree with a lot of y'all, what y'all was saying. One, to the Marcus point, when he say how to get his kids to tell the truth to him, I think it depends on the environment that we are in. I would want, like, my daughters, she won't tell me the truth. I don't care if her life is in danger. And one thing I love about it, I respect it, because I don't want to raise no snitch, no way. So a lot of us parents, we teach our kids to be something that we don't even value, right? That's one. Secondly, when it comes down to two-parent households, I prefer the single single mother households. The reason why, because now if black people were in a position where they're ruling, I think two-parent households should be only allocated for white people, because at the end of the day, they the one controls the nation, controls the vision, and they're going to benefit from two-parent household. The only thing the two-parent household is going to do for black people is do what? Reassure that you're supposed to submit yourself to proper authorities? Hell no. I like the fact that I like to say that, and I can say this. And this is why I go back to your question you just asked me. When it comes to masculinity, I learned how to be gangsters from the women than the men. Men is too logical to the point where they become a bitch. Were they too scared to even try something, because they always think about if they could get hurt, what can happen? They could go to jail. And then when you look at a lot of these dudes that have that influence that comes on these platforms, we don't respect True Table, right? Come on now, True Table is the embodiment of the two-parent households raised correctly. I won't want my sons to walk around like, dude, my son gonna be gangster. Big. So I don't no. I like I appreciate the women upbringing from it might be disunfortunate, but women teach you how to live, and also women teach you how to feel, and a lot of us you know, men, we was taught not to walk around being vulnerable, but at the same time, it's something special when it's something special in the black community, in the black single mammy community, how we done turned out. And I could looking at these men coming up here that had two parents, man, I appreciate being from the single mammy community. Facts.
Jay Prince, I got a question
So,
for you.
Jay Prince, go ahead, man. I got one too.
My question is, I'm assuming, right, and you can correct me if I'm. You consider yourself to be an extremely masculine man, a masculine man, or what do you consider yourself to be?
Masculine and feminine.
Masculine and feminine. So, is there a certain percentage of each?
Well, because I'm impulsive. Sometimes I'm hard to rational with, especially when I get in my feelings. And I appreciate that though. You know, after I express my feelings, and after I, get through the conflict, I feel good afterwards. So, sometimes you gotta. I love the way black women do it. When you look at black women, even when you look at how black men get treated by white men, and how black women get treated by white men, black women is the only ones that stand up to them niggas. Black men just gonna conform. So when I'm talking about femininity, I'm not saying that I'm a gay dude. No, what I'm saying is I'm emotional radical. Sometimes I like to dress. Sometimes I used to spend my money on stuff that didn't matter. But I damn sure felt good, and all the bitches loved me. So at the end of the day, I still got rewarded. So it is what it is.
So my question is, right? So considering what you think of True Table, right, and then what you think of yourself, why do you think that your upbringing and it is better than his, like based on the outcomes and what the future holds for both of you?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I'm assuming that you think that the way that your outlook on life and also your results to you will be better than Truth Tables. I don't know what you consider success, right? So I'm asking you, what is going to be better about your outcome than what you consider truths to be? Why would you be a better man?
Because
for our
I'm able to be. I'm able to be myself. I like to be able to express myself, my full entire self. Right. I think True Table is speaking from a position of overcompensating, and he trying to. A lot of these people, just like True, they overextend this logical man stuff to the point where it don't feel manly. I don't think black men in the position as black men collectively in America. You're not seen by a man from nobody. And the only people that's going to really teach you to stand up for yourself is your mama. It's something special when you're not aware of the consequences, because you don't have to focus on it. You can actually, get to it and just think about the consequences later. Where your daddy, if I had a pops like True, man, I would say lame, boring, run away from conflict. We always got to overly think shit. I would have so much depressed, especially in the position that black men collectively are in. I don't think we need to be in that we not in that position to be masculine.
Yeah. So why I think that's interesting. You think most women would teach their sons, if somebody hit you, you hit them back, and you think most men would say, hey, before you hit somebody back, think about it or tell a teacher. And you think most women would teach that?
Yes, when it comes to men, they want you to overanalyze, even in sex. Boy, think about this woman before you stick your dick in her. She had this, she had this. Now you just sitting with this woman naked. You just sitting up there just staring in space, thinking about what your daddy, a whole bunch of fear tactics that your daddy done gave you. Same when it comes to fighting. You in this environment, and all this environment, everybody shooting guns. I just got a text from my sister right now talking about my nephew in the house just got shot up with his daddy. And like, we was trying to teach them, boy, you need to stay out the streets, move out the building. Don't be, because they call me every day for a gun. And so
JP, I don't want to get too far off into these. Good story. I want to make sure that we pushing the conversation forward.
Yeah.
So we can kind of stay on.
If I could bring my point around. So I think that's interesting, because I don't know about the other guys, But the men and my dad was the one who told me, like, yo, if somebody hit you, hit them back. My mom was the one who said, tell the teacher. I remember one time when I was in elementary school, I was fighting this girl because she pushed me. I'm like, I ain't play with nobody. Don't put your hands on me. I don't care who you is. Anybody can get it. When I was in like elementary school, she pushed me and I beat her up. And as I was leaving, this some girl told my dad, she like, yo, your son was fighting a girl today, right? And I talked to my dad about it. He like, yo, what happened? Did she hit you first? I said, yeah. He said, all right, we ain't gonna tell your mom. Right? He said, we ain't gonna tell your mom, but don't let nobody put their hands on you. And I'm like, I'm the same person for my son. Like my son get into a fight in school, and I'm like, what happened? Oh,
was your dad raised with his mom?
Yeah, he's raised with his mom.
Only his mom? Like far as like he grew up in a single mama?
His dad too, but his dad was old school. But I don't know. I want to know everybody else's perspective, because to me, I find it that most of the men that I'm around are teaching like, yo, don't let nobody chump you, don't let nobody, versus the mom who's more like, yo, go tell the teacher or think about it or stuff like get mad because you got suspended for fighting.
Usually the men that thinks like that is the men that was raised with their mama. And that's where I get this ideology from.
I disagree. I disagree. I think it depends on your dynamic. It almost sounds like you've been in survival mode and still are. And I think that, and this is obviously no shade to you, but I think it's maybe where your environment, where you were from, that you're only talking about this certain dynamic. And I think that it's insane to me to think that just because a person knows how to communicate properly, is showing that they're a stand-up person, that they're like a sucker, because they're not instilling conflict. Well, maybe not in the hood, right? Because when you got guns, you getting shot up everywhere. That you might, maybe you might think that in that environment. I don't know, but
I think that a man's supposed to be violent.
Right. Okay. So
I think that especially I think that they keep trying to feminize black men. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
So that can only take you but so far, right? We have to. This is the problem with us Black people. We have a hard time being chameleons. We should be able to adapt in any environment that we are in, right? So can you pick up the phone, right, and talk to somebody and have a mature conversation, just say customer service, or are they going to look and say, oh, he must be from the hood, he can't even talk right, and I'm just using it as like an example of like being in survival mode. You're saying that, it's like teach to fight. Where's that going to lead you? Just because somebody has two parents and maybe a well-rounded household does not mean that they're a sucker. It means that maybe they're going to probably get further in life because they have a lot more values instilled in them, as opposed to maybe a woman who was in survival mode, a mother raising her child in an environment where that's what they would see, a bunch of violence around. It's like diabolical to me.
So let me answer that. First off, Jay, you call yourself Black. You stop saying that. You're not Black. That's one. Secondly,
my dad is Black.
As a Black man who creates the Black race and creates the Black people, you are not Black. That's one. Secondly, men, that's the problem with Black men. They keep trying to soft Black men up while everybody else get to be violent. And this is why Black men is in the, but these same women will call black men bitches when he compared himself to other men. This is why you don't listen to women, right? That same woman, when you Black man goes against her, she would call you a bitch when it comes to other men. She was saying you won't do that to that white man, you won't do it to the Mexican man. So you don't listen to no motherfucking woman. So I think that Black men supposed to be violent. The problem is they keep The problem is they keep trying to. The problem is Black men have been too soft, right? And Black men is listening to everybody telling him that it's wrong to be violent. Where everybody in this world respect violence. Everybody respect America. What is America known for? Violence, drugs, robbing, stealing, woo out the bam, drug dealing. But yet you wanna shame Black men for doing it. Man, fuck all that. We're gonna do what if America could do it, I'm gonna do it. Man, fuck all these standards. I'm tired of people telling Black men what they need to be doing.
Oh, so
we ain't
so
finna turn me to no bitch.
Is with white men, right? That's what your argument really is.
My
with.
fight is everybody that's against the black man. You ain't with the black man, you against them. Point
Oh, I
blank
love the
period.
black men.
JP,
Of course, you are trained to be that way because you are damn near white.
You don't know what I am. My dad
I'm
was black
looking
and my
dead
dad.
at
All right,
you.
so let's go ahead and move on, y'all,
Yeah.
to this part. Right, let's move on. This are
So,
we?
J Prince, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you shouldn't listen to women. I dig it. Right. I don't listen to women. Understood. However, you contradicted yourself a little earlier because you said that dude's supposed to be listening to their mammy when it comes to learning how to fight and everything else. So where do you draw the line with that?
Okay. A lot of times when women speak, you don't listen what they speak. You watch what they do because they tell the truth with their actions. And by the actions that we was taught by our women showed us how to be gangsters. Mama and them showed us this. When a white man came over and white man disrespect or hit a white woman hit a black woman gonna hit you back. She not finna go march, right? She not finna go think about the consequences of she can't get no job. I watch my aunties and them cuss the bosses out, cuss the police out. When the police pull you over, bitch, I ain't going no motherfucking way. The black man would have been walking on his tippy toes. Here's my driver's license. That's true table type of shit. Man, you done got me bent. That's what I'm saying. So when black women speak, no, you don't listen to that because you can't hold women to a logical point of view because they is 100% emotional. And so a lot of times they're gonna go off what they feel. And so when they articulating from their voice, that's why I think women are better when their mouth is quiet. Because
So why was
a
you
lot of
listening to
times,
your mom the whole
they
time?
don't say enough stuff that they really stand on. Women don't speak what they really stand on. Now, what they do stand on is through their actions. So I think that's the difference.
But JP, you were raised by a woman. You didn't get any type of tutelage from a man. All you know is what you, and from what you told us, she told you or taught you to be aggressive, irresponsible. So now you think what you constitute as a boring life, which is really a responsible life, it's safe. But you don't see it as that. From a psychological standpoint, this sounds like you jealous that you didn't have a two-parent household and you want
No,
to kind of
fuck no.
okay, well, now again, I could be wrong. I'm just giving you my opinion. If you are
Dead
not
ass
jealous
wrong.
that you didn't have it, I just think you don't understand the benefits of the experience. But like I said, you talk all this ish about not listening to women, and you were raised by a woman who taught you
And I watched
everything that you know.
Miss Pearl, did you hear me? I said I didn't. A lot of times these women didn't
Hey, y'all,
teach
2
us
more
nothing.
minutes on this, and I want to move the conversation forward. I don't want to spend too much time going back and forth on this.
Okay, a lot of times women didn't never teach us nothing. We watch what they do. We watch them getting aggressive. We watch them, we watch what the type of men that they pick. We watch who they submitted to, who they played. True Table got played. His image got played. Did nobody respect his image? Matter of fact, if he was one of the family members, nobody won't fuck with him. His
I don't
own
understand.
mama wouldn't. His own mama would choose to hang around the thugs, the drug dealers, and she'll love him, but love him from a distance.
Yeah, but I don't know
All
any
my
drug
aunties hung
dealers
around the
that got
huh?
holidays and like an MLK type of thing. Like you trying to make it seem like these wonderful, great qualities that this man has in the way that he presents himself, as if he's not black excellence, and
He's
he
not black
is. And then you
excellence.
listen to me.
He's
Then you
not.
talk
You
about
can't be.
degenerate
I'm a
behavior
man. You
like
gonna
selling
determine
drugs
that.
and being aggressive and toxically masculine as what constitutes a black man. It does not.
It is.
Regardless of if you were
That's the
raised in a
American way.
two-parent household. Hold on, JP. Regardless of if you were raised in a two-parent household or not, obviously the fruit that fell from the tree is showing, right? It's not glowing. So let's just go and keep this flowing. For me personally, if I had a choice between if I'm going to raise a son that is going to turn into a man and he has to end up being a J Prince or a True Table, I don't know nobody on this panel around the world with common sense that's going to pick a J Prince. And that is somebody who is irresponsible. That is somebody who is aggressive. That is somebody who is not communicative. That is somebody who is not emotionally regulated. My son, get yourself together. I land.
Period.
And let me say this,
Hold on,
Jay,
hold on,
before you go.
hold on, Jay. I mean, that's true. Before we move on, you want to respond? Anything?
He said he's a caregiver. That's enough said. I mean, we're in 2026. He got a do-rag on and he talks about the white man while he's employed. I don't talk to people who are employed and have to ask for permission to take a lunch break.
Okay. All right. Let me get to these couple super chats. First shot, 8731, $2. Says salute JR and the panelists in Chicago for the Bulls game. That's what's up. Iceman, Aaron, $2. Great topic for the sake of the building. Thank you, Ice. B-Fry, $5. How many single parents outperform couples without government help? Also, why do we talk down on one-parent households if it's so-called better? It's not. Lastly, search shot, $5. Okay, I'll say it. When a QB plays bad, you bench them. Stop giving kids excuses. If they performing, bench him or her for another kid. That will teach them.
Yeah, bench the parents instead. How about that?
Derek, can I say this off my mind right quick?
We got to move on, Jay.
All right, whatever.
Excuse me?
Yeah, whatever, man. You let it, man. This your channel. It's good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so you got to respect the channel, man. We're moving on.
Yeah, but it seems like when it comes to me, you rush me. And you,
Jay.
Huh?
I said because it's off topic.
It was actually on topic. It was a response to Miss Pearl.
Right,
but I'm always getting coached to shut the fuck up, though.
No, you're not.
It's your shit. It is what it is.
You're just taking it personal. That's all.
No, I don't like when I can get shut the fuck up, but you don't have that same type of ill with nobody else. It's like you be trying to treat me like I'm, less than or like a bitch or some shit.
I never said that. That's an assumption.
I was literally going to respond to Miss Pearl about what she said, but I'm saying,
I think that then I can tell you that, but you don't have to assume. I'm right here.
So do you be trying to treat me like a hoe?
No, I don't try to treat you like a hoe.
Well, I'll be feeling like you be trying to treat me like I'm some last cash ass weak ass citizen though.
I mean, that's the problem with a lot of men is they be in their feelings sometimes. So you just got to learn to get out your feelings and ask questions, ask qualifying questions, and then you can get the response. So no,
well, my fault for cussing.
No, that's all good. Are we replacing roles or just coping with absence? Are we replacing roles or just coping with absence? What do you think, Scam?
What do you mean replacing roles? Like who in what role?
Like when it comes to roles of men and women, are we like the roles of the household? So are we replacing them? The roles are just coping with absence.
In some cases, replacing roles. If there's one person there, then they have to do everything. So they got to replace and do all roles necessary. Replacing, I assume you're talking like the men becoming feminine, women becoming masculine. Is that going on? Yes. But I don't fully understand like the question or what it's actually leading to. Just being honest.
Okay. Pearl, you got your hand up?
I did. I think we're just coping. I don't think that you can replace, because maybe I'm wrong. Y'all help me out. But if I'm at a job and I'm fired or I'm replaced, I'm not there. I'm somewhere else. Like somebody has to physically come in and substitute for me to replace me. They have to take over my place and do what it was that I failed to do. So if the person is not there and you have one person and they're trying to do dual roles, no matter how hard they try, they're not going to be able to do both because they're only one person and they only have that one set of physiological and biological metrics. They can't do both. That's like me trying to be my kid's mother and father. There are some things that I may be able to contribute, but I am not that man, not the way that he thinks, the way that he operates. I would never be able to give that qualifying experience to my kid, no matter how much I loved them, how much I wanted them to. So maybe I'm thinking a little too deep when I hear replace. I think some people are thinking of maybe more like supplementation or additional help, but a replacement is just that. You're gone and somebody else steps in. And if they're actually stepping in and they're of a substantiated quality, then the show continues. We went on to have that discussion as if they came in and they weren't able to meet or exceed. But no, I just honestly, I'm gonna land my plan and saying we're coping. You have to do that when you don't have what you need. You're just gonna go without. Or again, you're gonna try to supplement. I'll land.
Anybody else on are we replacing roles or just coping with absence? In other words, I put it in the back chat. Are people truly filling the missing parents' roles effectively?
I think it could be a little bit of both, but I think it's really hard to do that if you are a mother and you are trying to just save your children, take the children everywhere, you know, be financially responsible for the whole household. It could be very overwhelming, and so I don't know how. Not to say you might get the job done, just like in Jay Prince's, um, background. His mom took care of everything. So like, is it effective? I mean, are you getting the job done? You're doing what you got to do, but you lack in something. You might lack in, I don't know, you could just lack in some things. And I think it puts a lot of burden and stress on if you are trying to cope with a person's absence. And sometimes there's absences that could be filled. I think Malik said, is that your name right? Sorry. M. White. He said his father had passed away. Something like that. You have to step up to the plate and kind of fill all the roles, whatever that may be.
Go ahead, True. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I think people are trying to cope. And that's respectable. If something is put on your shoulders to carry, you do what you can. Are they doing effectively? Probably not. But replacing roles, I don't really think you can replace roles. If I was a man in a position to where I had to raise a child by myself, I could not replace that mother's role, vice versa. I think people are just coping on what they can. It's commendable. Is it effective? That's subjective. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Go ahead, Jay.
As a father who raising 3 daughters by myself, been doing it for 10 years, I don't see myself as coping. It could be effective. You could have 2 parents and it could be this. Like I got a cousin that got 2 parents. His kids got 2 parents because he married his wife and he raised up the kids. And dude, his kid, one of his son is a loser. Like loser, can't do shit for himself. He be begging all the time. And they grew up in 2-parent households. His dad is a truck driver. His mama had her own daycare. And he completely a loser. But with the kids that I think that single parents cause the single parent one, it gives you so much motivation and drive. 2-parent household spoils the kid. 1-parent household, it gives them that drive, that motivation. It gives them strength. 2-parent household ain't gonna do nothing but cripple them and make them spoil and feel like the world is entitled to them, and they feel like they should just get stuff just because woo at the bam. That's how I see the difference.
I think JP, I do think it's ridiculous, that point of view, because just because somebody's in a single parent household don't mean that they like are without certain they gotta fight and like all these. I don't know who from the hood, but like you could tell when somebody like it was just certain. I knew certain people who grew up in their mom's house, but like they had all the money, right? Like you can say who had the dirt bikes, who had the freshest gear and all that type of stuff. It wasn't people from the 2-parent households, right? It was the niggas who family was in the streets, right? Typically, growing up. So the idea that you a single parent household to make you feel like you gotta I do not agree with that. And I think also what plays a part is like how many kids are inside the house. Because if you got 4 kids, 5 kids, the harder it becomes to give attention to them individually. So that's another part that I think goes into the equation is like how many kids are inside of the home. So.
And then can I just ask Jay? He said that you're raising your 3 children by yourself as a single father.
Yeah, I'm raising 3 daughters by myself.
So I'm just trying to put with your theory to the test. Are you going to be able to effectively raise them?
It's subjective. I'm gonna raise them to the point where they only gonna be qualified. Only the niggas out together gonna be the only ones that can handle them. The nerds and truth table them because they're gonna be so relying on themselves. They're gonna be so independent.
So, but are you going to be able to teach them every
one.
aspect of being a whole a human, a fully sustainable human, be able to thrive and be successful? Are you able to teach them that?
I'm teaching them to be their motherfucking self. All of this striving and stuff, trying to add up to other people qualifiers and all that bullshit ass
So
stuff.
let
I'm
me use a
teaching them to
different
be
word. Maybe
themselves.
thrive wasn't, maybe thrive. Are you able to teach them self-sufficiency, to be able to have their own household, raise their own children effectively, to love them, to care for them, and be able to teach them things? I mean, AKA thrive.
So what I'm teaching them is first you try to hustle for yourself. Push come to shove, you go to the welfare at the
Sell
end
drugs
of the day,
or
just like
get,
I did.
okay. All right.
And
So teach them
resources
to
is
be a
resources. It
statistic.
don't matter how it come, right?
Teach them to be a statistic.
Well, I think that everybody else don't have a problem with the Mexicans and every other people getting
We're not
those
worried about everybody
benefits.
else. We're just worried about right now.
Well, we need to worry about everybody else because y'all try to have a different standard for black people that's already disadvantaged, but you don't have that same smoke for everybody else that's so-called doing better. So if you're not concerned about it that across the board, don't come to no motherfucking black person telling them what the fuck they came to be doing and try to add up to stuff that you already know they've been put in a disposition than any other race, including your race is better than black folks. Is you cool?
Oh, you're talking about me personally?
I'm saying in general.
Oh, okay.
Stop trying to tell black people how they should live, and it's fuck the white man stats. That stats do them stats exist in our real world?
Well, we live
Hell,
in a world
motherfucking
now where
no.
we actually have to pay bills and survive.
Let the government do that. They've been using us. We picked cotton for 400 years and don't get no type of recognition, no type of nothing back. Let them.
Okay.
They use the black folks. We gonna use them. Period.
You know, JP, I think it's a shame because I see the potential. I see your potential. I really do. Like I see that you being able to make these arguments that are counter to the way that everybody else sees the world, and you being able to even a small degree substantiate them. You have potential. Like your brain works. Like you have a motor in there that actually, it works. I see your potential, but I think that most of your perspectives come from it's a defense mechanism. I don't know what you went through in life, but I think that you've developed them because it's
That's
been
what
your
made me
disposition.
aware.
That's
I think my upbringing made me like this. You know what made me great? It wasn't the positive shit that happened to me. The positive shit gave me my prosperities where, okay, you got some money, woo out the bam, you get celebrated, woo out the bam. What built my character is the negative. It's the stuff that I overcame. That's how I got my wisdom. You don't get wisdom when everything is positive.
Mhm.
I got my wisdom in my wisdom, my character, and my personality for overcoming shit. And that's what made me great. That's what created the J. Prince for president of United Negro Nation of the Black House. Not no positive shit with two daddies. I mean, a mama and daddy woo out the bell. It was my pain and my struggle that made me great. This is why rappers is great. This is why comedians is great. They shine through their pain. If you don't got no pain, you ain't nothing.
I agree. I agree. I think everybody develops their wisdom through the negative things, not necessarily the positive things that we go through. So I agree. But I think that I see you like y'all seen John Wick, right? Y'all remember the guy who kind of was like pretty much the king of the homeless people, the king of the underworld. Like, I think that I'm not saying that you're him, but like he took what he had and he made a kingdom from it. And I see that as you. Like you're actually intelligent, but I think it's based on your disposition. That you kind of you're taking the stuff that you went through and you're making it like, yo, this is what you should do because you have the intelligence to be able to make that argument, even though it's nonsense. But you have the intelligence to make the argument.
So, JR, to answer
by my
your
life
question,
experience.
The couple with absence, right? So, in my opinion, I think it is coping. So what ends up happening is when you innovation comes from a lack, or you, like I said earlier, you can get a LeBron out of a traumatic situation, or a single parent overcompensating and trying to create something. While I do believe that that's true for the extreme cases of success or the extreme cases, I think the general public is gonna be more detrimental because for every one LeBron that I know, I know a gang of Raynell Strongs or Gerald Strong, two cousins, same situation, both got killed within 2 years. I know a gang of people that ended up in jail in real messed up situations. So it can produce like trauma and pain can produce a diamond for sure, but it also can destroy a whole lot of other people before it get to that point. And I wouldn't prescribe to put people in that situation because like I said, the people I seen whose life was negatively affected with one parent or no parent for real, it was much worse than the people who was in the 2-parent homes. The people that was in 2-parent homes, those fuck ups is just kind of fuck ups. They just they not really like it's not noteworthy. They just they just ain't on shit. The ones that turned out that way, but the single parent and no parents, that shit was like dramatic. And I do think it's something too. Finding trauma or using your pain as a like a rubber band to success. The problem with that is because I did it with my life, right? The problem with that is once you no longer have trauma or your life gets so good, that same motivation goes away because you're not in pain the same way. Then you got to try and reformat your brain to find other metrics. But if you could have if I could have had that same transmuting of energy from positivity, that I could have just kept stacking on there with unlimited motivation. Because once my life got great, the motivation to do the same stuff, it just wasn't the same no more. And I think that's a negative of that. I'm currently in the process of checking positivity and finding a way to make that be the thing that propels me. But pain, it's a great catalyst. But when things get better, like much better, then you kind of just sitting there like, all right, man, everything good.
Marcus, can I ask you a question? Do you think that life's supposed to be like a battery? Because if you paid attention to everything runs off a negative and a positive. And do you think that we supposed to have, because just think, if life was just 100% positive, we won't know negative. So the negative make you appreciate the positive. Without the negative, you won't have no appreciation. You won't have no knowledge. You really won't need no wisdom because everything is so positive and hanky danky. Right? The negative. Do you think the negative is really negative? Do you think the negative is really how you that you gain your strength, your knowledge, your understanding about life? Do you think that you get that more from the negative or positive?
I think you get more wisdom and gain those things from the perspective I have now through negative interactions. But the point I was making is, if you could have gotten, if I say I was raised with a present father who was there guiding me through every step of the way, I could have potentially had the same type of wisdom with the same type of life experience, but even more motivation because I'm striving for something other than to remove the pain. So I think you could become burnt out using pain and trauma as your source of energy for everything. And I just don't like, from a perspective of life, once life gets better, then what? Like, a lot of people don't really explain that once trauma is no longer your catalyst, what is the thing that motivates you from there? And as somebody that's like understanding that, I'm trying with my children right now to figure out creative or innovative ways to create that same type of springboard without them actually having to experience the trauma that I went through. And I'm not quite sure exactly how to do it. I'm playing with different ways and different measures, but I do think that it could be a negative from not having any negativity in your life or any setbacks. So maybe creating adversarial scenarios that don't leave traumatic scars over your entire life. You know what I'm saying? That's my goal, to create adversarial so they can experience a controlled version of negativity that has no long-term permanent effects, where they just have completely different ideologies. Like with me, I believe everything is life or death, every scenario. I'm not going to engage in this because it's probably going to end up with me killing somebody or them getting killed. So I take it to the far extreme with every scenario in my head, as opposed to somebody that can have a healthy medium and range. So like that's not a beneficial way to look at everything, because it puts you back in a survival mode with every scenario you in, and that again can burn you out. It can. So I don't want that for them, but I don't want them to be soft. I don't want them not to be able to persevere through negativity, but I don't also want them to have PTSD. I don't want them to not be able to sleep. I don't want them to deal with trauma, you know.
One last question, if that's okay. One last question.
Jay Prince, I got a
Is
question for you
love
too. So
okay? Is love completely positive and is negative if it's hate? Is fear? Is love completely positive, or and is fear completely a negative?
I think fear can save your life. Fear is healthy. Fear can be a motivator, and I think love can be toxic and all those things. So it can run a gambit too. Love can be interpreted the wrong way, but the majority, the 89%, 90% of love is going to be positive. That 10% can be a negative, and fear, you know, it can be destabilizing. It can keep you in a permanent position.
I
Or
lost 6 members in my family because they grew up with people that they love, and they was the people that they love is the one that deleted them.
damn. So Jay Prince, I had a question for you, man. So I know what you're saying when you're referring to polarity, and I do think that adversity builds character for sure, right? I could give an example. I'm not going to go, too long about it, but I've had a lot of things that I've learned from some experiences that would have likely broken people and been in situations that none of you would imagine that I've been in, and face certain things that you would never believe, right? But you learn from that, and I think that and White, he kind of got to that point a little bit where he was saying that it's more of channeling that energy. Once you learn how to get out of that adversity, you start to understand. You build a muscle memory as to how to progress in life, so where you don't always need that polarity in a sense, right? So right now, I could be fueled by love and hate. I'm a hybrid. But do I need hate all the time? No. I could be just fueled by love. I could be self-motivated, right? It's almost like that time where you might be pent up with anger. You could channel that energy into whooping some ass, right? Which is what we do in the beginning phases, but you could take your ass to the gym too. And then you've done something positive for your body, right? And you ain't hurt nobody. So I think that the lesson is to take that muscle memory, because once you've learned how to progress, you've learned how to move, you learn how to get motivated, you get the muscle memory that should allow you to be able to duplicate that, to where you don't have to channel that negative energy all the time, if that makes any sense to
Yeah.
you.
So in so many words, I always tell people, I'm not trying to be a good guy and I'm not trying to be a bad guy. I'm trying to maintain being myself, and that comes with both of them. And I need and appreciate the good and the bad of myself. That's who I am. Even like for an example, you brought up fighting. I don't go into fight. Yeah, I love winning, but I also value losing too. I don't want to win all my fights. I want to experience the losses so I can. It's like you gain more for losing. For one, you aware of how getting hit is really feel, how losing a fight really feel, and actually getting into the fight how it really feel. You gain that experience. Like I really think I could probably beat up Floyd. That man never been beat up. His pride never got taken away from him. He probably never had a girlfriend that broke his heart before, right? So
JP, you can't be Floyd.
if you never got your heart broken from a female, you ain't no player. You ain't no player till you get your heart broke. You ain't no killer till you get shot at or shot. You ain't no monster until you take them L's. Those L's gonna create the monster. If you didn't go through
Right.
nothing, you're gonna be kind of soft. When I
So
talk, when I listen to these
I believe
guys,
that, Jay Prince.
I
But
love
here's the
trauma.
problem with that. Here's the problem with that. Do you continuously have to get your ass whooped, like a lot, every so often, just to realize what a loss feel like, just to understand what a punch feels like and what blood tastes like in your mouth, do you need to continue to
Sometimes,
experience that?
sometimes
Or
losing is
did
not always
that
losing.
one ass whooping teach you a hard lesson? You know what I'm saying? Like most of us don't have
Sometimes
to get
losing is not. No, I was saying sometimes losing is not really losing. It's actually a win. You because it's the way how you view losing, right? Yeah, you might lost, but one, a lot of people don't have courage to stand up to get in that arena, which you did. One, secondly, a lot of people not experiencing life. I love to lose. Like when I got beat up from the Chicago Cats, it made me feel like I was alive. Before that fight, I hadn't been in no fight in a few years, and I was walking around here depressed, feeling like I had to pinch myself to see I was alive. But when I got into it, I appreciate them Chicago niggas. We cool even to this day. And we get into it damn near all the time though. They makes me feel alive.
Okay. All right, let me go ahead and play this clip and tell me what you guys think about it. There we go.
Raised by a strict father, age 6. You spilled juice on the table. Instead of laughing it off, your father makes you clean everything yourself. Rules appear early. Toys must be organized, bedtime is exact, and excuses don't work. Age 12. While other kids play video games all evening, you're doing chores or studying. If you break a rule, there are consequences. Slowly, you stop arguing and start following orders automatically. Age 16. Your father pushes you into sports, work, and responsibility. Sometimes it feels unfair. You watch your friends living freely while your life feels controlled. Age 20. Something changes. You are tougher than most people around you, but you might also become colder, more serious, and sometimes even angry at the world. Age 25. At work, something happens. Everyone else panics when a serious problem appears. People argue, blame each other, and don't know what to do. But you stay calm, organize the situation, and solve it step by step.
All right, what you guys what do you think about that? What if you were raised by they got a typo?
That was my household. That was my household. So to a certain extent, there was a lot of structure. Definitely two parents, but I had a lot of structure. One of no games being played like that. I literally didn't come outside to the neighborhood until I was 14. I want to point out that the video, it taught docility though, and like a lack of identity as that kid was growing through those final stages, even though at the end, it seemed like in the workplace, he was able to solve problems and was a great multitasker and the go-to person. But that's a professional world. Like, we didn't talk about his emotional state. We saw his mental state. He was a little violent. But he may be somebody that is emotionally detached and so logical because that's where he gets his approval from. So, I mean, I saw some great things in that video, but overall, I just saw a child who didn't get a chance to experience life. And now they're like an overworker. Like that, I guess they're that A-type, that anal retentive or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'll land.
I think the balance was off. This was colonization. Yeah, strict parenting is cool, but all these principles, all these values, there's supposed to be there's supposed to be a why. There's supposed to be something for. So if it's too strict and there's no enjoyment, there's no life, there's no grace, there's no joy, then you create a sociopath. And that's what you were starting to see in that picture. Yeah, we get it. Because I don't like when people talk in extremes when they talk about parenting. Either beat and colonize your kids half to death, shame, neglect, and abuse, which don't work no way. One extreme on the left, or if you're not doing that, then you don't do anything at all. There's supposed to be a level of balance. This was too extreme on the left.
I 100% agree, Scam. That's why I say that I don't think we should have fathers, because fathers are usually gonna be overly logical and they're gonna use their ego. So if a father tell you not to do something, you went in and do it anyway, he gonna take it personal. I'm talking about your mama take it personal, but your mama not got that forgiving. She got that understanding. This is why they usually use women to like to like for like disciplinary, you know, because she has this understanding and woo out the bed where the father say, "Do what I say. You break them rules, I'm breaking your ass," and stuff like that. And he just either this or that. And this is why fathers don't need to be 100%, you know, because I had to check myself. So I allow my sisters and them to handle my daughters, even though I'm raising them. But my sisters and them, that's why I'm glad I got 9 sisters and shitload of female cousins and stuff. So I let my sisters and them handle that, because when my daughters and them do something wrong, I get extremely mad. Like they trying to, you must think I'm a bitch or something. I'll start talking like that. And these are some little girls though. And you know, and so I like, man, let me I call my sister them, hey, they doing this, woo out the bam. You handle that. Woo out the bam. So my sister them, they take charge of that.
All right,
So Jay Prince, if you
That makes perfect sense.
Jay Prince had a question.
Oh, hold on, y'all. Let me let True get in there. Let's get people to ask the question, then we'll come back and ask the question.
I think I had a lot of mic time thus far, Jay Prince. You sound like a very, very scared man. Like you sound very disheveled in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, you know, for you to even say fathers don't matter is wild, because you're operating in a father capacity now. But it makes sense because you just said you was raised around women, and you're not even facilitating your role as a man because you're offsetting your responsibilities for other women. That makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Everything you said over the years, I get it. You've never really arrived at manhood thus far. It makes perfect sense. So I see why
What true table, when you break down the psychology from me, when we break down manhood from my perspective, your perspective, I think I'm more manly than you. One, I'm on welfare and I get to do what I want to do for the most part. I can leave the job and get right back on, get my benefits, right? I get to come on this internet. I don't got to worry about what my boss gonna say to me and control me, even if I'm off the clock. When it comes down to real world, you got to worry about committing a felony, because that's going to mess up your criminal record for you to get this, to maintain this opportunity. Me, I don't give a fuck. I've been arrested 37 times, right? And so out of my whole fucking life, I do what the fuck I want to when I want to. And I don't give a damn about no woo out the band, right? On certain stuff, because I do want to have an early release date. But so I'm not just overly woo out the band, but you from your perspective, you cannot do what you want to do. You, even if you off the clock, you got to worry about how your image going to look from how people like you. I'm not saying talking directly to you. I'm saying people that's in your situation. You have to worry about what everybody, your boss, going to think of you. You have to worry about tiptoeing in life, because you don't want to get in a situation where you can't even stand up for yourself as an alpha, because that alphaness and stand up for yourself, most alphas ends up with a criminal record or in jail, because you're going to end up standing up for either yourself or somebody that can't defend themselves. And so in real life, you cannot do that. What you're going to do is call the police like a bitch. You cannot really, if you go hungry and go broke, you can't go sell no dope. Why? Because you's afraid that you're gonna go to jail. You afraid that you're gonna get a criminal record and woo out the bell. Me, I'm gonna go get some weed. My hustle was some weed. I used to sell a little crack. I went to jail. My first case was 6 months of cocaine.
All right, bro. All right, we kind of getting a little bit off.
No, it's fine.
You ain't gonna go rob nothing. You ain't gonna go take nothing. Is you?
Right.
If your kids go hungry, do you got kids?
Hold on, Jay. True was talking. Yeah, let him finish, bro.
I wouldn't waste my time doing that, but it's cool. Like your subscription to how you view manhood, your breakdown is perfect for how you see it, and that's great. As far as the video is concerned, like I heard y'all's perspective. I think that there's always a balance. I think, you know, having a strict father, I grew up with a strict father, but he wasn't overbearing. He just instituted structure, which is why I haven't been in a lot of situations, and I was very much well aware of what a man was very early. No, I have not been arrested. Thank God for that, because it's not going to serve anybody, me being locked up. Nobody. But the video could have created more balance. That probably would have been, you know, fruitful. I just think that having, you know, structure from a man is beneficial to either child, male or female. And I land.
All right, go ahead, Jamie.
If you don't got no criminal, you talking to me, JR?
I was just gonna say,
No, that's fine, Jamie.
One of the things in the video, it was to the extreme. I experienced that myself. From being raised by my dad, everything was do 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 do. We had to tiptoe around because we didn't want to wake him up, and so I saw that you didn't really get a chance to be a kid. You would look at your other friends, and you didn't really get to. It's like you wish you had that. But one of the things that it's like if you know better, you do better, right? And so regardless of what trauma you've been through, I know the different unfortunate circumstances that you experience, they do shape obviously the way you navigate life. But a lot of it boils down to self-love. And if you're not shown that when you're younger, it's really hard for you to navigate in life, and you're not able to be your most desired self, right? And so I think so for Jay, like there's you in life, you have goals, aspirations. People don't usually just say my goal is to be on welfare, or my goal is to, I don't know, go to prison. People don't usually say that, right? They want something better for themselves, but they get in a certain positions where they might not, right? So you're not voluntarily wanting to go back to prison, because then what's going to happen? It's a repercussion, right? Now your daughters are not going to have their father, and I don't know how much time you spend with them, but there's reasons why we do things for a reason, and you want a better life. If somebody gave you an endless amount of money, you're not going to say, nah, I don't want that, I want to be on welfare. You're going to probably get out the hood, right? You're going to change your dynamic. You're going to give your kids all the things that you want, right? All the things that you want them to have, so they can have a better life, so they can feel good.
But I think I would bring the hood with me. That's one. Secondly,
I think that's amazing.
but we just gonna be hood in a different area. That's just what it is. You can take the
But
nigga
you're
out the
not gonna
hood.
be
You
hood
can't
in the
take the
hood.
hood out the nigga.
That's fine. Everybody likes a little hood in the nigga,
Well, not true, Taper, right? So I would want to be like, I wouldn't want to live my life like that. I think that's the corniest thing of a man. And being on welfare, I love being on welfare. Period. I don't live my life based on what other people tell me.
Period.
Oh, I don't live my life based on what other people think I should live. I do what I want to do. What I want. I don't care about what nobody else is. Who is I'm qualifying myself to? Who is the standard? Who's setting these standards of being a man or being woo out the bam? I do what I want to do. I set my own standard. I walk on my own beat. This is y'all problem because y'all be too busy trying to add up to somebody, add up to a ghost that people don't that don't give a fuck about you. You trying to live, you trying to meet qualifiers to some people who don't give a damn about you. Instead of having those qualifiers for yourself, so you ever get in a position where you need a little help, food stamps, you instead of y'all going down there to the welfare office, you gonna say, well, this ain't the ghost. The ghost ain't gonna prove this. So you gonna stress yourself out just be for what?
Some of us make too much for welfare. I would love some food stamps.
Man, at one time I was making I made like $400 more than what I quit my job and quit my
Don't
job that money
incriminate
got
yourself,
them
bro.
benefits.
So JP, this is the thing. I don't think you know that you're contradicting yourself, but I think you are. So when you talk about freedom, but then you at the same time you say that you've been in jail 37 times, right? I don't think that is coherent. I don't think that makes sense.
That do make sense.
So explain it to me how you've been how long in total time, how much time have you in your life have you spent behind bars?
So I never been in prison, so it was always jail. So when you had to add up, I would give it about 3 to 5 years.
Okay, so 3
out
to
of
5
all them
years.
times been arrested.
Lock his ass up.
So you never been sentenced to you never been sentenced to like prison. You just been
No, I never went up north. I always served my stuff and I always served like 6 months here, 3 months there, 6 months there. Woo out the bam.
Ooh, arrest me, daddy.
Got you. I would argue that somebody like True Table has much
but
more.
But being free will land you in jail.
But this is a thing too, right? Can you own a firearm?
Yep, I don't got no felony.
So you don't got no felonies. You can. That's interesting. I don't know I don't know how all that worked. Then.
Yeah, so I just got caught with a gun case last year. Got dismissed. They caught me with a Glock with a 50-round drum on it.
Yeah.
Now, what I was about to say, being free leads you to jail, but the way y'all freedom, y'all think that y'all free, but y'all really mentally in prison, because it's a lot of stuff that y'all be wanting to do, but you always living your life tiptoeing because you always worrying about the consequences every day of your life instead of just live. I always say, if you don't got no criminal record, you never live life. You're not alpha like you think you is. You not that. You had a boring. I mean, you basically threw your life away because of you in fear.
Well, Jay
The
Prince,
real niggas is the ones that goes to jail. They do what they want to do, and it lands them in prison.
no, Jay Prince, I'm sure we've all done illegal things, right? But
Not everybody.
I'm sure a lot of us have, right? But we all haven't been to jail, right? I've done plenty of
I think
illegal
that
things.
every man should go to jail and get shot.
All right, man. Come on.
No,
like part.
I think that meant, because the reason why I say that, and let me substantiate it. The reason why I say that, as long as the people can leverage going to jail or getting popped, as long as people can leverage that over you, they can always manipulate you with that, because you're gonna always have fear of that. Once you lose that fear, like at one point, I should be afraid of going to jail until I went my first time when I was 18. And once I started doing this time, it wasn't like I was purposely trying to go out there, but I'm like, man, shit, I could do what I want to do. Woo, up to them. This shit don't scare me no more. That's the same thing if you get into a fight. Most people don't get into a fight because they're afraid of the woo out the bell. Once you get to start fighting and shit, and you realize you still alive, man, I was addicted to that shit.
Well, Jay Prince, right? It would seem as if you are exaggerating when you say like you got all this freedom and stuff, because if you've been arrested for 37 times and you really haven't done that much time in jail or prison, it's like, were you just doing little petty things? You didn't really do no real shit, like, right? You ain't really like
No. Well, I never got caught with no real shit. So there's a lot of stuff like I grew up like you don't have to be dumb out here. Like if I'm doing some shit, some real shit, I'm not gonna be stupid. That's gonna cause a lot of thinking, processing, woo out the bam. So you don't have like petty shit, yeah. Now I did get caught with my dope case. I was put like this
37 times. And you
listen. I was selling drugs way before I caught my dope case. I was selling drugs for 5 years before I first caught my first dope case. Imagine if I would never got caught. Right? So what I'm trying to say, I know a lot of people that never got caught. My uncle didn't go to prison for dope until he turned 50. He been selling dope his whole life. Everybody don't get caught with that real shit. I'm trying to tell you what God love.
For sure, but if you were caught doing something 37 different times, where you said you've been to jail 37 times.
Jail, yeah.
It
was many stuff I went to jail for.
Yeah. So you've been caught 37 different times. I don't think you can make the argument that like when it comes to other things, I'm just really smart when it comes to these type of crimes.
Yes, you not finna commit no M just off no wham.
That's bullshit.
Bro, you not just finna you gonna use a lot of thinking. Like, okay, let me give you some examples. A lot of stuff. Like I got into it. They had a 4-year block on me on a speedway because this white boy. It was just spare of the moment. The white boy, you know how you go. You know how you put some stuff on the counter and then you forgot to get a soda or a cake or something. So I put some on the counter. The white boy who out the bill took my spot, and I came back to the counter because all my stuff was at the counter. And he got into it. He said, "Man, hold on, you go to the back." I said, "I ain't finna go to the back. My shit right here, bro." And me and him got to going back and forth. He pulled out a knife, and so I'm bagging up like this. I'm like, when he like charging me up, and I always park my car in front of the gas station. Like I don't park at no pump or nothing. I pull up right there. And so I had a 2000 Alero, and the trunk button is right on the door. So I popped my trunk and I opened that Glock on his ass. He dropped that knife so quick. The speedway people came out and said, "I'm calling the police," and that's what resonated with me. So I hopped in my car, woo out the bam. I drove. I threw the gun. The moment I got in front of my house, they had me surrounded. They made me get out of my car like set it off. It was 30 police on me with AR-15s. What you mean? And later on that year, I got into it. I got into a big old fight with a 7-foot-old white boy at a bar. What you mean? I've been getting down my whole motherfucking life, gangster.
But
you got me big.
That's the thing, though, right? because you
Like that
obviously are
LA
afraid of
spot.
something, right? You obviously are afraid of the white man to some degree because there are certain things that you make sure you don't get. There's certain things you make
As I
sure.
got older, I started thinking more.
So, but that's the contradiction right there. Like now you're
It's
saying
not.
you're saying now I think more. I'm more rational. I think I'm more careful, right? But when you were talking about truth table, you're like, oh, he's careful, he's rational, he's not.
So let me tell you what made me a bitch once I start raising my kids, because now I got stuff to live for, and so and by me having my daughter, so now I'm walking on eggshells because I wake up every day. This is why I became depressed and started getting anxiety attacks, because I be worrying. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm saying, man, fuck this. It is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not gonna let the threat of them taking my kids prevent me from living. So we end up moving back to Milwaukee, and so because I cannot just live in fear like that. That shit is stressful for me. So because I like to do what I want to do when I want to do it, point blank, period. And if consequences, depends on the consequences. Like I'm not gonna go commit no M just off the wham like that. And unless that shit got to be woo out the bam. So
but why not?
Because you don't got to be no fool out here, bro. This why it's weird talking to y'all nerds, because you all think that it's like a video game and we just characters on the street, like we don't got no brain. Yeah, niggas do a lot of shit, but that don't mean they don't have a brain. It's a lot of people that got M's in prison, but they've been committing M's for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, bro, you got to understand.
So JP, you think I'm more of a nerd than you?
I definitely think you. I think that you one of the guys that you more dangerous to me because you trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Everybody, you more than people. The people that be trying to fit in is extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
You would do some stuff because it's just like a biracial person that's trying to fit in with black. They always go above and beyond. So if you trying to fit in, you're gonna be way more dangerous. I don't got to fit in. I'm already that.
Yeah.
This is where I come from. This is who I am. You had a mom and a daddy. You talking about you gangster, you street.
Yeah.
Is you cool? And then you got a biracial. You got a white daddy. You mix. Yeah.
Well, you get all
Ain't
this
you mix?
Where you get all this fake information from? I don't got no.
No, because you have said it. You have said that you was mixed, correct?
No.
Bro, I could have sworn the other day you was on somebody's platform. You said you was mixed.
No, my dad black, my mom black, and I was raised with my mom.
So okay, you was raised with your mom.
Yeah.
But you do come off like a guy that try to overly fit in. Like if you was in my ghetto, I would tell you, man, this ain't for you. Go in the house.
Okay.
Go back to school. I would pay for you to go to school, because this not even your look on you. You look all clean and healthy, and you look like you don't got no scars. You woo out the bam. This ain't your life. I think that I would be saving your life by telling you to go home.
Ooh,
We had a lot of people. We had a lot of people in our ghetto that used to. They from the ghetto, but they not that.
Yeah.
I think that you trying to fit in more. That's my point of view.
Sure. You know what's interesting, right?
You was cute. What?
Yeah.
Because you got a pony, bro. You wearing a ponytail out the side of your cap.
Yeah.
All my ghetto bitches wear their hair like that before they get their hair done.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? I think it's interesting because a lot of people got the same mindset that you have, right? Because
I'm not saying that you soft though.
No, for sure. Like a lot of people got the mindset of like because you dirty, right? You think that you might fight better than somebody else, or you think that like you think that you more resilient, right? Because let's say like you ain't really been in prison, so we ain't gonna really count that. You just been in like you just live like you was like boosting and stuff, like stealing things, shoplifting.
I'm not gonna talk about my crimes.
For sure. But like I think that you think that like you built different because you're dirtier, but that's not necessarily true.
No,
like I think you don't think that.
No, my life is more dirtier. What my experience, my uncontrollable experience. I watched my mom and them die in front of my face. I've been watching people getting killed my whole life.
So Jay Prince, I got a question for you.
So,
Do you,
bro,
do you think that because you saw that, you think you can beat me in a fight?
no, because a lot of you weaklings like nerds
Yeah.
always take up a fighting class, or they go to the military, they become a cop, they learn karate. So it's almost like bringing it back to a street fight, right?
Yeah.
Because you go get training, and a lot of times, like you brought up jujitsu, right? You give your son jujitsu,
Yeah.
but to me, that's still a coward to me.
Yeah.
It's because you had to go take training and to make yourself feel confident in the hood. Without that training, you a bitch.
Yeah.
Right. And I see a lot of these people that they take up these trainings, become a military and woo out the bim, take up these training. Now you want to play tough because without that training, you was getting hold. Mike Tyson was getting hold before he took up that training.
Yeah. You know, like,
so that's how I see it.
Yeah. And I think I still think that you have like intelligence inside of you, right? But I think like when you are intelligent and you grow up in the hood, right? At least for me, right? I really got to study everything and everybody. Like when I sold drugs, I was really good at it, right? Because like somebody like you, for example, right? You just stupid, you get caught doing it and all that type of stuff, right? But for me, for example, like I was intelligent, so I started like I realized like, oh, I can incorporate marketing into this. I can incorporate all these other types of things. So I actually got to learn that like my potential was like way bigger than selling drugs. Or like you start to learn it like, oh, a lot of niggas in the streets can't fight. Like for example, like I would bet that you can't fight, right? But I think
because I smoke and drink too much.
Yeah, but I think that you will fight, right? Because you know, like
I will fight.
Yeah,
but
you
most
realize,
street dudes not getting no training. If that's the question you asking, they not getting no box. You got some cats take up boxing.
You can rumble, right? I just think that most niggas just can't fight. Some niggas know how to hold their hand. Some of them
But
don't.
fighting don't make you street though. I think you think. I think you think because if you could whip my ass, it's still not gonna make you more thuggish than me.
Right, do you think that you shoot better than me?
This right, you prove my point that you trying to fit in. No, you proving my point that you trying to fit in. I'm this way because this is how I was bred. I was born this way.
You didn't have options, right?
Right, and bro, you grew up. You got the chance to be raised with your mama. I watched my mama die in my face at 10 years old. Before then, I was in foster care. Before then, me and my siblings, I got 9 sisters and 5 brothers.
Yeah.
I got 4 on my mama's side. One of my sisters died. It was 5 on my mama's side. One of my sisters died. My daddy got 14. So it's everybody in my environment was thugs, drug dealers, pimp thieves, hustlers. My daddy was a hustler. My daddy was a pimp. That's why he got 14 kids. So just because you beat me up in a fight, not going to take away that not going to make you more thuggish than me. Stop trying to fit in. That's not you, brother.
This is the thing. This is a crazy thing. Like I almost everything besides going to jail, I beat you in.
No, my whole life was a system.
I got more baby moms than you.
Yeah, now that's what's gonna make me inferior.
I beat you in that too.
Yeah, because you got good hair.
You said that you were in
Yeah, what was the topic again?
You were raised by your mom.
You gotta go back to the top. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
You were in foster care, but you were raised by your mom.
Yeah, so my mama cousin called the CPS on her and got us taken away from her for like 2 years. So me and my one sister that's up under me, we was close. We went to one foster home. My baby sister went to a foster home. My big brother went to a foster home. Then when they let us out, my little sister went with my auntie. My big brother went with his grandmama on his daddy's side. And then me and my little sister that's up under me, we went back home to our mama. And then eventually we all came back. And then a few years after that, she died in front of us.
And then who raised you after that?
My auntie.
So I just want to say this, and this is me being truly authentic and serious. When I look at you, I feel a little sad. And I feel sad in the fact that you didn't have a real chance at being a kid and growing up in a healthy environment and a healthy dynamic. I am sorry for the loss of your mom at such a young age because it does affect you. I hope at some point in your life, you're able to give your daughters a better perspective, to be the best dad that you can possibly be, to help them to grow successfully and not just to be fighters in the street. Alan.
Well, I appreciate that, and I can't say that I'm emotional handicapped after my mama died. I feel like I became handicapped after she passed, because nobody never showed me no love after that, like the way she did, and so everybody showed me hatred and showed me aggressiveness, and so that's what I'm portraying. When I was in jail, they didn't. When it's like it don't matter what you go to jail for. You in jail with them killers. They don't separate. They don't make no divisions based on what. Now it depends on some type of crimes, but
Hey, Prince, you
most
ain't never
part.
been in real jail though.
Bro, but stop it,
You
bro.
already told this. What you told us.
Oh my God, this man, bro, stay clean, bro. You don't,
I'm not
you
taking
got
nothing from
options.
you.
You don't have to
I
choose
would
this
never.
life.
If you
I
was
have
really
never.
in the jails and
I
in the
see
streets,
these
I
type of
would never
guys
take this
before.
from you. But
I
you,
see
I'm
these
just
type of guys like
going off
Monk.
what you
They
said.
choose to be. They choose to be
Yo,
like they had the
you
other
got
option to
arrested
go the right
37
way,
times and
but
only
he
you
wanted
only
to be
did 3
street so
years
he
in
could
jail.
fit in.
All
Can I
right,
finish my point, Monk?
I apologize. I'm sorry.
You want to like okay. So a lot of times, so I felt neglected. I've been neglected ever since my mama passed. That's ever since 10 years old. So, and when I turned 16, I had to live in the streets. I had to get it how I live. So I tried everything. I tried selling dope. I tried selling weed. I tried because I had to drive around in my car for all night until the daylight hit. Without no car, if I didn't have no car, I didn't have nowhere to go. I used to live in I had to sneak in people open garages while they shooting outside. Like, bro, like being in jail was the next best thing. At least I got 3 meals in a cot. I had a roof over my head. I was warm and I was chilling. Right. So I think that when you got guys like Monk, he want to be a part of something. He want to be street so bad. He don't have to be street though. And then what's so crazy? If it was left up to me, I wouldn't have chose his life for myself. It seems like you trying to be a part of something because it looked cool. But when you go through this shit ain't cool.
You choose it every day.
My
You
first
are the
girlfriend was getting
grown
sold
man.
by her mama because her mama was on crack, Sade
I'm-
Pickens. She was getting sold from her mama
JP, you
to
realize you
niggas
choose
on the
this
block.
life every day, right?
All
What?
right, well, let's
You choose this life every single day. You get up. You choosing this life every day, single day.
You don't got
And
no scars on your
hey,
face. You got
because
all
no, no,
your
no,
teeth.
no.
Your teeth is
So,
white, so you know
JP,
you ain't
all right,
stressing over nothing.
I'll let you finish your point though. Can I finish my point real quick? This is the
well,
thing, right?
checking them out.
This the thing. You like when you said, right?
No, because he trying to come off. I would consider him to be an
JP,
undercover
let
cop.
me finish real quick. I got you. You've been arrested and then you've been in jail.
You fit to be an
37
undercover
hold on,
cop.
hold on. You've been in jail 37 times, right? But
Yeah.
we all know you
That's
wasn't a nigga who was really getting money, right? So it's not like you had these crazy lawyers, you had public defenders and all that, and you never did no real time. So you are
told you that I did.
let me finish. You scared of what niggas do to go to real jail. Don't act like, oh, I'm the streetest nigga. I ain't had no parents my whole life. My mom died in front of my face. You ain't never did nothing crazy. You
I never
shoplift
come up
like
here
that.
and expose no shit what I did to prove a point.
You shoplift.
Is you cool?
You shoplift. You exploit benefits. You go to jail for stuff like that. You never been to jail for. You never really did nothing crazy. And it's not wrong with that.
What
But
did you go to prison for?
Like would you say it again?
What did you go to prison for?
I never been in prison. I've been arrested. I had charges selling drugs.
What type of charge? So you talk about me. You try to compare yourself to me. Who out there?
I don't say what I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm the streetest nigga. You trying to act like, yo, I ain't had no other choices, bro. Nigga, the niggas who I know who grew up with the same story that you got, them niggas in jail for life. You ain't you not like
every nigga got life.
No. The niggas who I know who really grew up like, yo, my mom got shot in front of me. I never had no parents. I was in the system. Them niggas is really doing real shit. They're in jail for some real shit. You just be playing.
Oh my God.
You a single dad, and you kind of a good father. Cut all that nonsense out, bro. Cut all the nonsense out. You take care of your kids by yourself. You a single mom. Like you trying to act like you. Come on, cut all that stuff out, bro. You not like.
I am what I am.
I'm not like
no. Hold on. Let's get some.
Like that, and you want to portray yourself.
Bro.
Like that. Not like that.
Bro. Let me correct you on something. I am who I am, and I've been through what I've been through, right? And so You try to diminish because you found my life to be cool and infatuating because you didn't live that life. You don't got my story. I don't know why you want that story for yourself. You got clean hair. You don't got no scratches on you. Your teeth ain't yellow, so you ain't been stressing. You ain't been drinking. You ain't smoking no cigarettes. You had a good upbringing, bro. Stop trying to be something that you ain't. So since you ain't that, and you feel like that's in your mind. You think that being street is so cool or go through problems is so cool. So you looking at me and I'm expressing my story. And you try to take it away from me because your weak ass ain't that. No, boy, you a church boy. And I'm repeat. If you was on my block, I'd tell you to go your ass home. You don't belong out here. You ain't us. You don't got that much pain in you. You don't got that much. I don't care if you do know how to fight.
You was just wiping.
I don't care if you do know how to fight.
You a CNA. Talking about my block.
So what?
My block. You don't got no block, nigga. Cut that shit out.
Okay.
What you talk about? You got a block? JP, you got a block?
I don't got no block.
Exactly.
Them blocks don't own me.
JP, you wipe ass?
Yes, I do. Well,
you wipe ass. You don't have a block. Stop talking. Stop talking crazy.
Let's go ahead and close this out with some.
Get that soft. This dude is soft as hell.
Let's close it out with something related to the topic. So
I just want to apologize to JP. JP, I'm sorry for saying all that stuff to you. That means stuff just now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, JR.
So we talked about two parents versus one household. Who's really raising better? Thoughts? Does anybody want to just go ahead and close us out with some final words as far as this topic, what it means to you, what is it you see, something that you may not haven't had the opportunity to speak on thus far? Anybody?
Yeah. When it comes to a strict father, I think that part of the video that we didn't really dive into was that just following orders without questioning anything can lead you to be in a real bad scenario, right? There's a such that like during the H cost, it's the thing called banality of evil, right? And what occurred was that the people who committed the atrocities at that time, their excuse was we were just following order. So you can be conditioned into just being someone that does whatever someone tells you that's in a position of authority. I think they've even done like studies on giving people power and telling them that they were supposed to hurt other people because somebody in power told them to do so. So I think that just blindly following orders and not having the ability to think through problems and think it's something a legitimate thing you should be doing can be a result of being raised by somebody so strict where you have to follow every single order without giving a child the autonomy to kind of work through problems and think, is this what they should be doing, as opposed to just being instructed. But that being said, structure, I believe, is better than no structure. It does need to be like a healthy mix where you try and teach the kid, you know what I'm saying, how to think for themselves. That should be the main thing you do, teaching them how to problem solve, how to work through an issue, and how to make a good decision that's going to benefit them, or how to work through a problem that does not benefit you to get to a desired outcome. I think that was one of the things that the guy in the video was saying, that when he was presented with a problem, the boy was able to stay calm, remain focused, and then work through things systematically while everything else was going to chaos around him. I think that does come from somebody, providing a structure for you to think logically through your emotions. So there's huge benefit to that. I don't know if the video was supposed to go in a different direction after that, where they was going to talk about like the psychological profile and the social aspects of being raised like that. But from what I saw, if just highlighting those specific aspects, structure is important. One of the ways that I show empathy to my child or nurturing to my son is I would love to just do the same things nonstop that I do with my daughters. It's just loving, hugging, and playing. But my son is a rambunctious, aggressive boy. And he needs me providing structure for him and giving him like more discipline than his sisters is me loving him because I'm gonna save his life. because he's gonna be a very large child, a very large boy, probably like 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". And that just off top is threatening and aggressive to most people. Like Miss Pearl, you met me in person. You see how large I am. An emotional.
I wasn't expecting that, and wait, I'm not even gonna hold you.
Yeah, I'm like a giant.
Watch the wordplay.
Yeah, I am so tatty out with this pause. Like we can't even talk no more. Damn. So
for him to be like emotional and not be able to maintain his composure at that size, it's gonna end up in extreme situations where I'm like to visit or bury my child. So I want to kind of teach him ways in order to transition his emotions into structure, so he don't be just like wilding out and just trying to, do the most at all times. Now, with that said, he gonna definitely defend himself and get active if he needs to, but he needs to be able to think through everything so he could do things in a way where he provides himself the best opportunity to be safe and to survive every encounter with person or problem.
Can I ask you a question, Marcus?
Yeah.
Have you ever been? I'm not insinuating nothing or trying to put nothing on you. If you was involved in the streets, have you been caught for anything major that you ever done? To put it like this, if there was those cameras in your life, would you be in prison for a long time?
Yes.
So that means you didn't get caught for no wild shit, right?
No.
So this is what I'm saying when when you having conversation with these nerds that are trying to be gangsters and trying to be thugging, bro. He got his ideal interpretation of what he think a street guy is, and so from his interpretation, because
the topic, man.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I got. I can.
No. Hold on.
Go ahead. I think Pearl's trying to go.
Pearl, we'll go to you, Scam.
Cool.
Go ahead, Pearl.
So I had anything to say as far as a takeaway. I would say that regardless of how your situation ends, if it is a 2-parent household or a one-parent household, I think JR, outside of balance and structure, the word that he used tonight that was really a highlight for me was sacrifice. And even though it sounds like it's an obvious term that we know comes with parenting, a lot of us struggle with sacrificing our wants, our needs, what it is that we didn't get a chance to do. And it's like we try to simultaneously raise our kids with that lack of self-fulfillment. So I just wish anybody with kids, thinking about kids, have kids, be prepared for the sacrifice. Know that you don't dictate what that sacrifice looks like. Just remember that you signed up for the job, and that is your duty to make sure that your children have the best beneficial life to them, one that's conducive to you. So self-sacrifice, I land.
All right, go ahead, Scam.
Good evening, people. Good show. When it comes to parenting, there is a such thing as bad parents, and it's easy to just run from and say it's somebody else's fault. If your kids are failing, if they lack confidence and they don't value themselves, you probably failed. There's a such thing as failing as a parent, and not waiting till they turn 18 and say, well, are you on your own now? Well, you had an 18-year head start to go, actually add 9 months to that, to prepare for this person and prepare this person for the world that you see that you are already in. 2 parents versus 1 parent, it does matter, but it's not a quick fix. It's not just a solution to staple people together and say, all right, now everything's perfect. That's a lie. Because if you go back in time, you'll find eventually people were in these fake 2-parent households that the old people will get on you, not all, but old people will get on here and tell you that that everything was better in 1942. They're lying. There was dust back then too. But some things are cut and dry. There's hate and there's love. If what you're doing represents hate, pain is only supposed to be temporary as far as going to growth. And it's something to endure, but it's not supposed to be your actual language, your actual lifestyle. That represents death. Drugs, crack, fighting, cutting, smoking, shanking, ganking, raw dogging, big booty Brenda in the streets. That represents death. That's what it really is. It's the HOV lane to death. But there is a whole nother life out here. There's the beach, there's the Bahamas, there's playing Monopoly, there's shooting water guns at people, there's pranks, cracking jokes, laughing, and actually showing pretty teeth. It does exist. That's what parents are supposed to be guiding their kids to, showing them that internally, showing that between them and their spouse, them and the other kids, versus colonizing, devaluing, humiliating, shaming, neglecting, and abusing, and trying to implement it as if it's love when it's really hate. It causes pain. And I believe everybody up here can understand the language of pain. We know what it sounds like, smells like. We know the language of somebody crying out and bleeding out. We know the language of somebody seeking love and trying to use hate to get it. That's all I got. Mine, really, bro. I'm gonna catch you on the dust panel and I'm gonna get you.
What I do?
I got you. I'm gonna get you on the next dust panel.
Let me ask y'all this. Do you guys think we should kick our kids out after a certain age? Father, I mean not father, but son and daughter.
No. I think the parents should go out first. Since they're trying to teach the kids a lesson, they should go out first and show them how it's done, and then kick the kids out. If they believe what they're doing, they would do it first.
If you don't pick them out early, they ain't gonna never learn to survive on their own.
But that's
if
the
you
point. You didn't
always
train
favoring
them to survive on
Right.
their
So
own.
go out
Once
there
you fail-
first and show them how it's done. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Pearl.
No.
Sorry.
So there are a lot of parents who wait, like they got a calendar who count down when their kids turn 18 because they're just trying to kick the kids out so they can have freedom that they feel like they didn't have because they were restrained in their parenting responsibilities. That is a selfish parent. That is not a considerate parent. That child just got out of high school a few years ago. They're nowhere near prepared. They don't even have a career. They haven't even gone to college. But because they're 18 and feel like that constitutes them as an adult, you just want them to go out there. You know it's hell out there. What parent would throw they?
Yes.
JP, I don't think you can do that on camera. I think you gotta go off camera real quick.
Oh, okay. The cigarette. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I personally think that y'all raising your kids to be something that I get it where because you don't went through the struggle and you don't want your kids to go through that. I want my kids to experience that struggle because that gave me a lot of hustling skills. When I look at these people, a lot of people they can never. I just got not evicted. When I was got to leave out my house 2 weeks ago. Most people wouldn't know what to do if they lose a job. You got these people self-deleting themselves because they done lost a job or what the band, right? I know how to hustle.
If it didn't work for you, why would you encourage it to work for them?
Because it's something I want my kids to experience what life gonna deal them, not this fairy tale ass world that y'all been preaching about. I want them to experience reality because guess what? It's a lot of women out there who had parents. Hold on, let me say this. It's a lot of women out there who have parents living in the homeless shelter, selling their bodies on the street, who don't know where to go. They coming and going, they drinking, they smoking drugs, what the bam. That don't mean they didn't have no fathers. That don't mean they didn't have no good mothers. But if I want to teach my kids the raw, what's real, and yes, they do need to go through stuff because that's what benefited me. What benefited me is not people taking care of me. What benefited me was my auntie kicked me out at 16, and I had to find a way on my own. That's why when I see people that been living with their parents compared to myself, I'm in a way better situation than them. If something bad happened to them and they lose their job, they're not gonna know what to do.
How do you know
if I lose the job today, I'm gonna know what to do.
Jay Prince, you know and we know that it did not benefit you. We see it. We weren't born yesterday. Why would you want that for somebody else?
It did benefit me. The problem is y'all uppity people, y'all like to say because y'all think y'all way is the way. No, it did benefit me. Everything I done went through gave me strength. Hold on one. I don't care what you was born, but it did benefit me. Yeah, I got some scars, but that don't mean them scars ain't healed or I didn't overcome them. When obstacles come my way, I know how to maneuver. Y'all gonna get hit blindsided because y'all never been in these situations. Y'all like green. Y'all green. A lot of people is green that been raised with their parents and then leave their house to 28. Then when their parents died, their parents left them their houses and stuff. So you ain't never went through nothing. You're not a real adult.
So
if you don't go through real shit, you ain't no adult.
everybody should go through something, right? That's how we get a little stronger. We grow through what we go through. However, but if
Right.
I was raped or molested by somebody in my family at a young
You can't
age, I
say
would
them words
not
on
want
here.
sorry. I would not want somebody else going through. Who said that? Oh, I wouldn't want somebody else going through that. I don't want my kids to have to experience every single thing that I
I,
went through, or making sure that they're in the
See, people
trenches.
go to way far off the grid
I'm putting
to
that
illustrate a
as an
point. I'm not talking about no shit like that.
J
what I'm
Pre, J Prince, this is why what you're saying doesn't make sense, right? You're saying
saying.
that you're saying that, okay, let's take you for example. You are at a place right now where you might not have your job a few months from now, and you recently got evicted or something like that, right? But you're still alive.
Yeah.
You're still alive. You're saying that
Right.
if we teach our kids to do everything the right way, and then they turn 30 years old and they get evicted, that they're going to somehow end up worse than you? You think they're going to die because they get evicted and they got to be homeless?
No, so the difference is like, okay, my daughter's been watching me going through this, right? Because if I get evicted, we all get evicted together. My daughter's been watching me build a food truck from scratch, right? And throughout them 5 years, I created a 5-year goal. And throughout them 5 years, they seen me create this. And within the second year, I started a hot dog cart. And we was making $1,000 a night every time we go out for the weekend, right? And so now this year, I finally finished the food truck, right? And where I put a porch on the back of it, where they gonna have their own lemonade stand. So I'm teaching them, okay, yeah, we got evicted, we got asked to leave out their house, but that we renting that house. They ain't our shit. I'm teaching my daughters them that never depend on nobody, not the government or no nigga. Depend on yourself.
Yeah.
Because the moment you give people leverage over your life, they're gonna be able to manipulate you. Like landlords be asking, why you think so many women gotta fuck to keep their house? Because
Prince,
they don't got no hustle about them.
Yeah, but you know,
They
you
was
do
always
realize that
pampered.
you do realize that that truck can be taken from you at any time, right? The same way that a house can be
You
taken
take
from
my
you by
truck,
a
you gonna
landlord.
die.
No, so you're going to have to kill the parking authority or whoever takes your truck. Yeah, but Jay Prince,
No,
like,
but this is I'm saying my food truck. How my food truck gonna be taken from me?
If you don't register it the proper way, like you have to, like the state tells
It's
you to
already
do,
registered.
exactly. So you have to play by the rules, and if you don't, they'll take it. Just like
Okay, this one I mean stream. Some rules you have to play by. Okay, cool. Getting it registered, rule out the bill. But I'm teaching my kids, right? So although we got evicted, but we ain't get evicted because I don't got no eviction on my record. They gave me a 14-day notice, and I had to move within that 14. If I didn't move, then they could have took me to court. I could have got eviction, and then if I didn't pay them their money, that would have been a judgment. I paid them once I got my taxes. I paid them their money. I moved out, got me another place. Me and my kids, we still got a roof over our heads. Only reason I picked up the job to finish my food truck, and my food truck gonna be open up next month, between no later than May. It's gonna be open at this time. So then I'm gonna be generating money. And so instead of me buying a house for a landlord to come and kick me out, I said, man, fuck that, and fuck trying to rent a house and move out the bam. I'm finna go buy us an RV.
Yeah.
We got a house on wheels. So now I don't gotta be delegating and stuck in that one area. Me and my kids gonna be in an RV thugging it while we sitting up there making money off our food truck. Is you cool?
I applaud you
I'm
for
a
that,
hustler.
right? Because it don't matter how late you do these things, right? As long as you do it, it doesn't matter how late you do it. But I would assume that you probably in your 40s, right?
I just turned 40.
You just turned 40, right? And you're finally.
Well, damn, I'm gonna be 41 in May.
Yeah, you're gonna be 41, and you're finally to the point where you're about to be able to finish your food truck, right? Whereas
my first time completing a goal.
You know, as congratulations. But if you raise your kids, right, or if you were raised a certain way, you could have had that done by 25. You could have had it done by 20.
Man, I wouldn't have had the same mindset at 25. My mindset was on something totally different.
What's the benefit of your mindset if your results are what they are? Like, and you just
I don't want to grow up too. No, I didn't want to grow up like be old fast. I wanted to be a 25-year-old and think like a 20-year-old. I wanted that because I was gonna get old. Now I'm 40. Now I'm old as fuck. So now I do the worry about nursing homes. If I treat my kids right, how they gonna look out for me, leaving shit behind for them to have and stuff like that. So now I'm at that point. So now I live my life. I shine through my kids because I done lived my life. I did everything I wanted to do. So now I'm shining through them. I'm giving them woo out the bed, but I do want them to experience that struggle. So that's the only how you're gonna learn how to be appreciative, and that's the only how you're gonna learn gratitude. If you never went through no struggles, you're not gonna know what gratitude feel like. You're not gonna be able to appreciate shit. You're gonna be feeling like you just entitled. I done been around people that didn't have them struggles like I did, and they very uppity. They feel like they entitled. If they get evicted in the house, they gonna be crying. They ain't gonna know what to do. They going into psych wards. I'm like, bro, that's all you crying about, you old weak motherfucker. Get off your ass. I got a brother that's just like that. He can't live life unless he living with a bitch to take care of.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you got to go out there and get it on your own.
Yeah.
I'm teaching my daughters not to depend on no man. We not living in Bible days, that alleged Bible days. These men is not taking care of you. The government gonna do you better than any man will.
Jay Prince, can you say one thing? Because you've been talking for about 6 hours. Just one thing that doesn't contradict itself. We ain't gonna ask for a lot. We just want one. Because you're talking about you're teaching people to go through the struggles and not depend on nobody, but then you say you're gonna make sure they get on welfare. That's dependency. And your actions are backing it up.
Yeah. So welfare is something that I qualify for. I put in 23 years of hard labor. They took taxes out of my money. So I'm getting my respirations the ghetto way. Y'all crying about respirations that y'all never got. No 4 acres and a mule.
I'm
getting mine the ghetto way.
One.
Finessing the government. Finessing the government. They finessed me for 23 years of hard labor, and they was taking money out of my taxes. So I'm getting that shit back. I'm not gonna wait till I'm 65 for a retirement check. And at that point, I'm gonna be mentally insane. I'm not gonna be able to enjoy the money because I'm got Alzheimer's. I'm literally watching these people at work right now that don't even know where they coming and going, but they getting at work, they check for 65 years of slaving for another motherfucker that they didn't get credit for. So I'm getting my respirations the ghetto way. And I'm getting a chance to live my life. I got the chance to sit on my ass for 4 years straight. Is you cool?
I asked for one. I guess the answer is no.
I'm not contradicting myself. If I do touch the streets and work, I'm going to work for myself.
I think the unfortunate part about this is that you think that people have to go through exactly what you went through in order for them to build some sort of resilience. I think simply when your kid falls and you tell them to get up, like that's you teaching them resilience, like just the simple things like that, or putting them into.
I didn't have nobody there to tell me to get up.
Getting into a fight where you had to get up, regardless if somebody told you to get up or you just got up.
Right.
The same thing. You didn't have no help to get up. You had to get up.
Right. Yeah, that's what made me.
So when my kids get into a fight, right?
A lot of people didn't get up.
I'm saying, like when a kid gets into a fight, who's going to be there to walk them through that and help them through that?
A lot of times those type of kids won't even get into the fight to even stand up for themselves. So what the opposite of that, they become somebody's bitch.
Yeah, I'm saying just a kid who gets into a fight, who's there, who's going to walk them through that fight, or they got to handle that by themselves?
I would say life. I think life is the best teacher. The life is the most. When you talking about a fight, physical fight, there ain't nothing but a couple of minutes. I had to fight life when life was life, and that's some people. I know a lot of people didn't get back up when life hit them. A lot of people ended up on drugs. A lot of people self-deleted themselves. A lot of people ended up in prison because they was forced to do some other shit because they didn't want to be evicted. When life be life, and fuck a fight in a physical fight, that's the easiest fight on the planet. When life be hitting you, when health problems getting your way, when you lose your support, like your mama that was raising you and let you stay there, and now she dead and gone, and you don't know how to. Now you don't know how to defend for yourself because you was dependent on your mama and them and your daddy and them to be there. When life be life, and I know a lot of people didn't get up. Life is a big fight, my brother.
So you're saying that you've seen people with these negative outcomes. So you've seen people who ended up in jail. You've seen people who ended up in prison. You've seen people who ended up offing themselves or dead, right? You've seen these negative outcomes.
I was in jail with people, and I was like, bro, you do not belong in here.
Got you. So you
talk to them. Yes, they did not belong in there.
So those are the outcomes that you're trying to avoid for your children and also for yourself? That's
I'm
the
not trying
bad
to
outcome.
avoid it. I'm not trying to live my life in fear and constantly running from it. So I'm teaching my daughters, my nephews, and them. I'm teaching them. My nephews and them testing their mama right now, saying, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die." He been shot in the chest. He just got it. He just visited his daddy house. He got shot up just a couple hours ago, and so he feel like he finna die. So my thing is my thing is I want my kids to experience that struggle, because by me experiencing it, it made me stronger. When I view people, when I'm around people that didn't have that struggle,
Yeah.
or always have people to come and save them or pick them up, they not as strong as me.
Yeah.
When I'm not talking about, you brought up a
Jay
physical
Prince,
fight, I'm
what
talking
is
about
the
fighting
goal?
life.
Hold on. So what is the goal for your kids to avoid by you teaching them this, by them going through these struggles? What is the goal? What are you trying to get them to avoid?
I want them to avoid of having fear of living life and being authentically them. I always teach
Okay.
my kids, be 100% you, be authentically you, and always speak your
Yeah.
mind, and always let somebody know how you feel. You don't got to be aggressive. You could be assertive, but let them people know how you feel and be you.
But do you
And
realize
depend on nobody to take care of you.
do you realize that you just use those particular negative outcomes to articulate how bad things can get? You said, "Oh, I didn't seen people strung out.
Yes,
I didn't seen
things.
people you said I didn't seen people who haven't been through these things end up on drugs. I seen people who haven't been through these things end up in jail." Those are the negative outcomes that you articulated, right? So
But
obviously,
not right.
these are things.
I'm
These
agreeing
are
with you,
things that
Mike.
you were said.
So here's the caveat to that. By my daughters them watching me going through the same shit that other people would go through, they watching me climbing up out of that. They seen me, my daughter knew how to hustle a church right out they damn whole congregation, right? They watch me and they know how to hustle. So when if my daughters them go through that, they gonna know what to do. If I would never show them what to do, they wouldn't know what to do. And this, if we didn't know, they wouldn't know what to do, because I'm dead and gone. One of my kids not strong as me. One of my kids, if I didn't ever show my kids the raw, uncut about, instead of everything so hanky danky, I'll show them the dark side of life on how bad life can get for them. If I would never show my daughters them that, they won't know how to climb out of that.
For
They
sure.
will be trapped in that darkness.
How much do you plan? How much
So
do you
luckily they was able to experience that with me.
How much do you anticipate making with your food truck, ideally?
I spoken to a lot of food trucks. I end up getting a contract at the state fair, and I also Google what food trucks say. They saying about 6 figures, and then
So
it's just like the dope game. But look, I'm treating like the dope game. Once this food truck get open, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna buy no cars and nothing with it. I'm gonna buy me another one. I'm gonna buy me another one. I don't want no cars. I don't want nothing that can't give me no money. Then I'm investing in trying to get me some Sprinter vans. We living in today's time where everything you could deliver for Walmart, Amazon, woo out the bam. And I'm getting me some Sprinter vans. So everything about me is gonna be making money. It being our own little boss. That's come from me struggling. That come from me had to work for a boss, and they can come and tell you, I don't feel like it. You know, you need to. We need another. We
I dig it.
downsizing, and I'm gonna lay you off.
Jay Prince, this is one of your bigger contradictions, right? Because I'm pretty sure a
How
lot of
that's a
people.
contradiction? Life is a contradiction, though.
I got you. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen you talk before, right? In the way that you
Yeah.
talk about people who are run by money, and how if you have money, right, you're not free, and all these other type of things. But it's illustrating that your number one goal. You just said it. I'm all about my paper. I'm all about the money that this is about to
No,
make
that's
me.
not what I said. I'm all about.
No,
So
you
what
did.
I'm all
You said
about? No, what I'm all about is having
rephrase.
kids. My
You can
first
rephrase it.
priority has been the kids of many kids. I've been a father to many kids. That's my first priority. My second priority to use the money by us living in this time. I'm using the financial money to get by. But my ultimate goal is not to have no money. I know I need it. Yes, I'm not stupid. I know I need it. So I'm gonna do it the slickest way to get it. But my ultimate goal is to buy me a fourplex, and every woman I'm going. I found this website where all the women that's in prison or if they homeless, as long as they fertile, If they willing to give me a baby, they get to have a unit in my fourplex. So every apartment has 4 apartments in there. And each one of my baby mamas get to live in my apartment for free. And then they can work the food truck and I will pay them $1,000 a month. That's the welfare system. So basically I'm becoming my own welfare. Black House Family Welfare Association.
You
I'm
don't
literally
dig it, right?
creating that.
You don't dig it, but what you're preaching is entrepreneurship. You're preaching entrepreneurship. You're preaching doing it the right way. You're preaching, buying property. Like you're preaching all of these things that you talk against.
This isn't Jay Prince's fault, Martin. It's yours.
It's not. You want to continue to preach against
your fault.
However,
you did.
Your actions are showing the opposite. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, hold on real quick.
So if we are forced to play this game, why not play the ghetto way?
Hello, Jay. I got you. Dad, did you want to say something online or offline?
No, I'm gonna just say something online real quick because I think it's very important to hear online because Lapeef, you've met my brother. You know what I'm saying? And my brother is the 20-year-old, this dude. You know what I'm saying? And it pisses me off when you hear older dudes speak like this because they're basically encouraging the young dudes. You know what I'm saying? They're encouraging them to continue to go through this and find their own way. The benefit of you just described all the benefits of not having a parent. Jay, that's what you described. It ain't about being hood because people who was hood, who had at least one parent, we didn't come out as bad as you because we had that parent. So that's what all of these people on this panel is trying to tell you. Don't let this community teach your kids the lessons that you can teach them in the house. You talk about something, they won't be able to defend themselves. Well, if your son has to go up against his big bad ass dad, I'm pretty sure no little gangbanger ass little boy will be able to trick him into being a standoff man. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's important that you keep especially at 18, because at 18, you just described what? Impulse, right? You describe impulse and how dangerous impulse can be. And once you got older, that impulse, you had an impulse control to be able to become the smart man that you are today, which I know my brother is, but he has people around him telling him it's necessary to go through shit that he don't have to go through because he's been doing this shit by himself since he was 11 years old. He doesn't need any more of that. He needs to learn how to control his impulses. And you will be the great person to tell these men that. You would be, but you have to cut out that other shit was absolutely necessary, because it won't be necessary for their kids or your kids if their dad just decides, let me give it a try. Let me show him what tough is, because I've been through it. I'm not gonna let these streets teach him, because these streets ain't got no love. And when it ain't no love out there, you don't love yourself. Now you have kids and you was able to see yourself in your kids, and now you have love not just for your kids, but now you have love for yourself. And that don't make you a bitch, because at the end of the day, if anybody approach you, you have your past knowledge to be like, okay, I got this. And now your kids is gonna have that knowledge, but they don't have to have that experience to have that knowledge. All they need is you.
All right, thank you for that message. That's some I'm sure people will be able to appreciate that. We're gonna go ahead and close this out and get through these last couple of super chats. LD 244, member 499 month, and got a street bone in his body. You can tell. And that's on the panel with the 989. There's other ways to be a man. A man is a threat to other men through his intelligence, strength, and knowledge to defend himself and his family, not stupidity or impulsive traits, which you were speaking of. I want to thank everybody that's contributed to the platform. Hopefully this live stream was helpful to some folks. If you know somebody need to hear this messages that was on here, make sure you go ahead and share. Hit the like button. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Y'all be safe. Support everybody on the panel. Thank you guys. We are out.